Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. We're here today to talk about what will be a blockbuster. That match, of course, is between India and New Zealand, being played at the Dubai International Stadium there. That will basically be deemed to be a so-called quarter final leading into the what will then be decided as a top four. I think those two sides acknowledge that they'll probably beat most other sides, but it's between these two teams now, the result that they will get, which will enable them to be able to confirm their semi-final berth potentially with Pakistan in Group 2. It's India and New Zealand. But as we speak, there is another match being played, maybe not quite as significant in terms of where it sits with Group 1, but Group 1 has Afghanistan versus Namibia. Namibia having played very well of late. Afghanistan not bad as well. Well, Afghanistan made 5 for 160 in their allotted 20 overs. And Namibia are currently 4 for 41 of 8.2, needing 119 runs off some 69 balls. So very unlikely that they're going to be able to get us a position to be able to win the match. But Afghanistan, to me, are really in with a chance of being in the top 2. Well, they're still an outside chance. But the match of great note is going to be the game that follows. That is between India and New Zealand. Yes, this stubble looks good on you, Norman, compared to beard or clean shaved. Okay, well, it's just laziness, Barrow. Am I high? Why am I high, Lucifer? Why would you say I'm high? Silly boy. Okay, and Tim Wilton Davies left some earlier comments. Where's Mitch Marsh? Well, he was not in the side, was he? And obviously, Steve Smith, should he be in the team or not? I've got my doubts. Drinking from the Lord's Cup? No, I'm drinking from the South Sydney Rabbitohs Cup, actually. South Sydney Rabbitohs Cup. It's a cup of coffee. But there's been, not only is there the match between India and New Zealand, there's also the game between Afghanistan and Namibia. And of course, last night, Australia were absolutely thumped, thrashed, crashed, crunched by a very informed England side who yet again showed their class by not only beating the Australian score, which was, let's have a look what that score was again. That will just repeat that. I think it was 120 odd. Well, they got it within 12 overs, so they well and truly showed what needs to be done when you beat a side, or beat a side handsomely, and that was what happened there. So effectively, Australia look very much down now. They're going to rely on South Africa not doing well. Yeah, the toss is the boss, Baram. I would agree with that. I certainly would. You've got a 20-minute interview from, is it Dave Warner? Oh, no, I don't think it's Dave Warner. I made a mistake there. Let me look here. Let me sort that. Hi, Abhishek Sharma and Shreya Gayathri's joining us. How nice to see you. I'm on to India. Okay. The reality is India's got a real chance of winning here, I think. But yeah, there's a couple of other things that I need. We'll talk more about the India-New Zealand match coming up, the Afghanistan Namibia, which is in play now, which clearly Afghanistan's going to win, despite winning the toss and batting first. Rodney Cavalier has just sent me an email. I can see Rodney Cavalier, the former chairman of the SCG Trust, just flashed on the screen there. There has been, unfortunately, 3, not 2, in fact, now it's 3 renowned Australian players die in the last 24 to 48 hours. One, of course, was Ashley Mallett, the off-spinning bowler who bowled in the era of Lily Thompson. Ashley Mallett, well-known off-spinner for Australia, third highest wicket take behind Lyon, Nathan Lyon, I think, Trumbull. Then we've also had the death of famous all-rounder, cricketer all-rounder from Australia, Alan Davison, who I knew very well. And these are Alan Davison Gates. Alan Davison passed away as well earlier. In fact, was it yesterday? But now we have a third person. who has just been notification has been come through for another player, another spinner, a leg spinner, in fact, I believe, Peter Philpott. Peter Philpott played for Australia in the 60s, captain of New South Wales, renowned author of books, a great trainer, a great person indeed. He has also passed away. So 3 Australian players have passed away in the one period of time. Very unusual, very much a shock, really. I have to say that's. I interviewed Peter Philpott about 4 years ago on my show Through the Eyes of a Cricketer on TV Arcana. So I've got record of Peter Philpott's interview, and I'll bring that to your attention soon enough. That was quite a special interview that I had in some length. Andrew McDonald. I think Andrew McDonald was. Yeah, so it's been a pretty bad few days for Test cricket. So Ashley Mallett spinner, Alan Davis is a left-arm fast bowler, and a very handy all-rounder indeed. And yeah, that's quite. And with Peter Philpott, so Ashley Mallett, Alan Davidson, and Peter Philpott, all 3 Australian greats. So Barar Marani's been asked to join me, but he's come from a Halloween party, so I'm assuming he's covered in makeup. He still needs to change clothes. Afghanistan had an amazing journey. So was Namibia, for that matter, too. They both had incredible journeys. We'll see whether this, in fact, has a Andrew McDonald's or Adam Zappa. I'm not sure who's talking here. We'll soon find out. Now, Halloween is a thing here. It certainly is a big, big thing here. In fact, on the streets of Sydney, there's young kids all over the place dressed up. And then there's a whole lot of other people who are dressed up in superhero outfits through to nurses' outfits, you name it. Squid Game Guard. Okay, there's plenty of things going on in regards to. And we haven't got an interview from Adam Zappa. Zappa with a haircut there. I'll be uploading that very shortly. So Squid Game Guard. Okay, so that Squid Game is certainly taken over. Solio, it is a big match today. England can lose both of their games and get knocked out too. Yeah, well, very unlikely. So I'm afraid they won't get knocked out. And Johnson's laughing there. The reality is that Australia were awful last night. They lost wickets hand over fist. It was quite an awful. Let's have a look at the fixtures and results. The results. I'll give you the results now. And yeah, Afghanistan looks like they're going to win their game easily. Australia were all out for 125, and England were 2 for 126 after 11.4 overs. So they could have went well over 200 if they kept going. And of course, the game where South Africa just got past with good shots from very good batting, in fact, by I'm trying to think of the person's name. What was the person's name who got the runs? David Miller. Miller got the runs at the end, which enabled South Africa to beat Sri Lanka, even though Sri Lanka probably were in opposition. Can but won't. Don't blame Australia. Every team is losing batting. First, it's common in this World Cup. True. Sega, do you ever even know that net run rate of England, even though if they lose, England will still top the group? England's run rate's amazing. So Australia all out for 125. Basically, I think they were the last ball of the innings they got out. Aaron Finch got 44. Agar got 20. Wade got a pretty ordinary 18. Pat Cummings, Mitchell Stark got double figures, but that's about it. Warner 1. Stephen Smith 1. Glenn Maxwell 6. Stoinis Duck. People who you would expect to be the ones to get the runs. So there were none of those involved. So yeah, Namibia need 106 runs off 60 balls. I'm afraid they're not going to get that, are they? They're not going to get that. Not a hope in hell. Although Afghanistan are an amazingly good side. They, if they'd been in Group 1, they may have gotten through. Who knows? They may have been better than some other side. When Kane is a real problem, he gets a ghost in him against India. How are you doing, Norman? Enjoying the World Cup? I certainly am. And it's looking more and more like we'll have Pakistan and England topping their groups. We'll see how India goes tonight. We'd assume they would be the other group top team. And then the number 2 side in Group 1, who's that going to be? Is it going to be Australia? South Africa? At the moment, South Africa's got a slight edge. What do you know about other? What do you do now other than interviews? Listen, Johnson, I'm actually retired. I do have other things I do. Well, quite a few things I do, but I've got a superannuation policy which is in my favour and has allowed me to somewhat gracefully retire. Well, I'm not really retired. I'm heavily into it. I'm sort of the cricket channel's taken over a bit, hasn't it? In a good way. As it can, but be in the same if they just focus. Well, if South Africa get beaten by England, which we expect will happen, and all other games go the way they say, South Africa and Australia could be on the same points, which comes back to a net run rate situation where Australia's probably slightly ahead at this point in time. So that's the question. It's interesting. They said that they're going to have a World Cup interview with Andrew McDonald, but they've actually got Adam Zampa on there. So we'll go through a bit more about the Indian machinations. There's talk, the discussion with the Hardik Pandya will be on the side or not is a big one. What they will do with the spinning department, whether they'll have Chakravarti or they'll have Chakravarti, or will they have put Ashwin back in? There's a few scenarios there. Shardul Thakur, in my opinion, should be, and Hardik Pandya shouldn't be. So Tim Wilton Davies missed the games yesterday. He missed England thumping Australia, and South Africa with Miller at the end hitting big, winning the match for them over Sri Lanka. When probably Sri Lanka, you may argue, deserved to win that. How did Australia do against England yesterday? Tim, they batted atrociously. They were all out for 125, and England got 2 for 126 in 11.4 overs. So there's not much to be said about that. England did it in a canter to the extent where, they didn't need to worry about too much at all, did they? They basically they did it with 8.2 overs to spare. They got the 126, as it turned out. They could have gone on and scored 200 plus. Very ordinary from Australia. Some reports say India 11 will remain unchanged. Well, we'll wait and see about it. I'm not hearing that. Toss is the boss. Teams chasing win the Dubai. I would agree with that. Pandya is playing. Is he all right? I'm really looking forward to the next one, Norman. Both our teams have disappointed. Yes. I think India have to just survive Bolt from new ball and Sodhi from the old ball. Rest of the bowlers are not in great form. No, you can't say about New Zealand. They're pretty good bowlers, let's be honest. They're not exactly lacking. Yeah, so just in case I didn't mention it earlier to some of you, the 3 Australian former cricketers that have passed away in a matter of a day or two include Ashley Mallett, the off spinner, who was our 3rd highest wicket taker, great mentor, great book writer, great everything. He played with Lillies and Thompson. He passed away. Then Alan Davidson, one of the best all-rounders Australia's ever produced, passed away, and he's 92, I believe he was. And he was a great all-rounder, played in the Tide Test, a great man. He was an administrator. He was some 20 years on the SCG Trust. He was a number of years in cricket in New South Wales. Had some very, very high-powered roles. Was a great, well-loved guy and great mentor. Played cricket until he was in the mid-80s. Played the Battle of the Smashers, which I was involved with. He would often be there, which is a game at Pratton Park, which is the West District Club, which had the greats like Dave Gilbert, Michael Clark played for that team. Alan Davison played for that team. That was the second man who passed away. The third, I only found out a matter of half an hour ago, was Peter Philpott, who was a great Australian player, New South Wales captain, played in the 64, 63, 64 period. Also, great mentor. I've actually got a book of his, but that thick, handwritten, that he gave me when I interviewed him. I interviewed Peter Philpott about 4 or 5 years ago. I had that interview, which I will bring to play at some stage. And Peter Philpott was a great man in his 80s, 86. He had a long illness. He was a real character, a real sharp wit. I interviewed him with great pleasure. I drove him home that day after the interview, took him to North Sydney, near North Shore Hospital, actually, lived near there. Good friend, good man. So that's 2 men I knew very well. The third, an associate. Incredible to have these people pass so quickly, so soon. Still have my good pal Neil Harvey alive. Arthur Morris passed away a few years ago. I knew him as well. Yeah, a lot of these old cricketers. We've still got Jeff Thompson, Doug Walters. They're all around. Lenny Pascoe. They're all around. A very sad state of affairs, actually. Yeah, so there's 3 men. You'll see, if you look into my community, the community page within my YouTube channel, you'll see all about them. I've written up about all of them. So, yeah, but England hammered, smashed, crushed Australia. There's no doubt that at all. Toss was like 65% of the match, yes. I think even more than that. Although Afghanistan have gone against that. Afghanistan batted first and they've won their match. So they've broken that hoodoo a little bit. I did get beaten last game against Pakistan in a manner which was amazing. Some great matches. Pakistan, the way that Ashraf Ali came up with great 4 sixes against Afghanistan. And then, of course, the way that South Africa won with Dave Miller hitting 6s against Sri Lanka to win the match. And then last night, there was no need to worry about 6s late in the innings because England only had to bat 11.4 overs to get the 126 they needed with 2 wickets down. Josh Butler went nuts. 5 or 6 sixes. I'm not sure how many they were. Enormous. Namibia are out. Yeah, they're out. I mean, score there. They're 6 for 56 after 11, needing 104 runs off 50 balls. Yeah, Afghanistan certainly is going to win that match. You'd have to argue. So I'm going to try to create a video which was Adam Zampa talking. Hello, no name. Hello, I'm good. England will struggle to bowl when bowling second. Well, look, England have thumped, certainly Australia, West Indies, and who else they thumped? They thumped someone else as well. I think Bangladesh. I think it was Bangladesh, didn't they? They've been pretty awesome indeed. And they didn't. The thing is, they just don't like Australia. Just beat South Africa towards the end of the innings. They're not only beating sides, they're thumping them. They're actually giving them a nice old slacking. Nice old slacking indeed. And here we are. There's a little video here. Uploading these. The Zampa. Adam Zampa is bowling really well. I must give it to him. He's bowling very, very well indeed. Still got a bit of time before the toss, but we'll get to that in a minute. So clearly, England are in great form. They've knocked off Australia in no uncertain terms. There's a situation there where, if England are pretty much certainties to be in the box seat to take out first place in Group 1, as are Pakistan in Group 2. So really, England and Pakistan are heading their groups. But it could become very important. It could become very important to see what happens with second positions between the likes of Australia and South Africa. 2 teams I didn't expect to be battling for semi-final spot. Sri Lanka's got an outside chance. West Indies, somewhat of an outside chance. But really, the rest are gone. And it's going to be interesting. So Adam Zampa, I'm just putting his, just multitasking here, guys. I'm just uploading his, which I didn't get a chance to do earlier. So it's courtesy of Cricket Australia. You may notice that upload a lot of these interviews. And I like to put up the raw video itself. I think it's tough loss. It was certainly a tough loss for Australia against England. They were really ready for us. They really gave it to us. There's no doubt about that. That was one of the heftiest losses we've had for a while. Australia really shouldn't have a hope of. So Tim, okay, Manager Johns. So Tim Wilton Davies is in Munich in Germany. München. Ich habe 4,5 Jahre München gelebt, Tim. Ja, genau, in Starnberger See. So Tim, okay. Hey guys, how long before the toss? Home colleague changes into a different underwear, undershirt, something. He always loses the toss. Yeah, let someone else flick the toss. We've still got another. It's another about 38 minutes before the toss. Sri Lanka has no chance. Okay. Where is Munich? München is in Bavaria. Tim Wilton Davies, are you living in Munich, Germany? Many John, that's not the only way, India or, okay. Damn, Tim, that was my joke. I know that, guys. Troll face looks like you know everything. 21 Norton. 21 is 21. I'm older than 21. So Tim, why are you mentioning Munich, Germany? I'm just wondering, where's that come from? Where's that conversation come from? 21, ja, wir können ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen, ganz genau. Yes, I'm just putting up some of these the hashtags. What's the hashtags here? Doesn't look like a hashtag. Oh, it does. It's a T20 World Cup. Hashtag ICC T20. Oops. ICC T20 World Cup. There, when you actually go about uploading, MD Shanmaz, hi everyone, World Cup in UAE is not balanced well pitches. I don't agree with it, man. I don't have to put it so many times. Technical guys, my 11 is Rohit, Rahul, Ishan, Virat, Sky, Punt. That's a good side. I like that. Varun, I don't know about Varun necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily get too excited about him. What have we got here? So it's India v NZ. Okay. I'm just going to have to just do a bit of when you do these little so Control C, and then we go Control V, bingo. Not too bad, the old computer work now these days. So Adam Zampa was, certainly was that he's been Australia's best spinner for some time. Underrated, should be playing Test cricket, shouldn't just be playing the short form, in my opinion. Better than what else we've got at this point in time. Ask me if I've got any inappropriate language. No, I haven't got any inappropriate. Please call anyone. You are boring alone. That's very nice, Liz. I'm really annoyed by that. UAE is not a good country for World Cups. Who should Milne replace? Interesting question. Angel Wings. I wonder where being honest, where is Aparna? She normally is here. You're my boo. Thanks, Angel Wings. I think that's a nice thing. Is it right call from New Zealand to drop a batsman for Milne? Is that what? Well, Milne can bat. Obviously, Milne can bat. That's what the key to that discussion is. Okay. Abhishek, I think we should stop cribbing about the pictures so much. In the end, it's so very true. UAE is fine for IPL. I agree. Angel Wings. I am from England. I live in Kent, the southeast corner towards the coast of France. Are you trying to say you're French now, aren't you? Is that what you're trying to say? Bit of an issue with the board. So, yeah, there's a lot to be suggested. This game is extreme. This game will rightfully decide, as a quarterfinal should, who will play in the semis. And clearly, it's England in Group 1. Clearly, it's Pakistan in Group 2. So we need to get partners for them in the semi-finals. And you'd have to say that French, gracias. Gracias is more Spanish, I thought. I would open with Ishan and Rohit, followed by Virat, Pant, Rahul. This will help mitigate some of the risk with Trent. Yeah, I mean, really, Ishan Kishan could be given a go. Yeah, I would agree. Kent is the garden of England, but the weeds are growing and the bins overflowing. Oh, Tim, that's a bit nasty. And Tim, are you living in Munich? Explain to me, are you living in Munich? Why did you mention Munich, Germany? What has that got to do with anything? Yeah, Turin Power, others, and yeah, they are. North England is better. Okay. How do you rate Williamson's captaincy in T20? It's pretty sound. He's not bad. Darwin, English Irish. Okay. We do need someone to come on with me, a Munchie or the Vernons or even good old Biram should be there. But we've got a long game. I mean, I expected Gurkharat Gill, he was meant to be here, so was Naresh. They may have their own little broadcast on it. I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll find out. Endless amount of people passing away. It's quite even one of our famous TV people, Bert, who was with Don Lane, Bert Newton. That's all that they go now. It's Adam Zampa. So you guys can enjoy watching him. Too many old players in West Indies need young blood. They probably do. Too many old players. Okay, so come on stream, Munchie. West Indies began as favourites. Now they are nowhere. It's really quite sad, actually. I'd have to agree with that. It's a rather sad indictment of where they're at, actually. It's probably not indicative of where I would put them. Start a prediction for tonight's game. Look, you'd have to say India against New Zealand. You'd have to. And India will damn well make sure that Steve Smith should not play. So yesterday, Munchie. Steve Smith, I didn't say he should play, that's for sure. Angel is like, Norman. Angel Wings asks, Norman, are you excited for this match, New Zealand versus India? I can't wait for that. Nor can I. Bring in the partner and Beram. I've got Beram here. He can join us anytime. I'm going to work out where a partner is. A partner is someone who difficult to catch these days, and she should be going to give her a call. She's been good though. She's been really good. I can't knock her.
This mailbox is full.
Her mailbox is full. Here we go.
This mailbox is.
Her mailbox is full. It's well, we can't have everybody, guys. Do you want me to cover? Yes. I did send Marcus. Okay. I don't know where these people are. That look. Anyway, guys, the main thing is that we really enjoy your involvement as participants here. I'm just waiting. Just got to find where a partner is. Gurkha at Girls due. It's just one of those nights. It's been everyone. If they beat, okay. South Africa's particularly ordinary. If Pakistan will be laughing all the way to the semi-finals if that's the case, because they'll have a situation where, they'll have a situation where they'll go into the final with a canter. Really, they will. There we are, sent it through. Sri Lanka will beat England. That's a bit of a boil. Oh, look, is Sri Lanka absolutely? What was Warner's comment about? Warner's made some bizarre comments. He got out for one. Okay, got 65 the game before. I'm not going to deny that. No, he got out for one. He and Smith fell over like a pack of cards, and then they left a very hard situation for Marsh and not Marsh. Sorry, what's his name? Glenn Maxwell and Stoinis. That they had very little hope of getting through. But the worst thing was they picked Mitch Marsh as their first drop batter, and then they dropped him. I mean, he shouldn't have been there in the first place, but they did pick him there. South Africa is very ordinary. England will beat all the colonies, except, well, let's not go that far. Warner went silent after the Tasmania. Surprise, surprise. India have thrashed New Zealand World Cup once. Well, there's always a first. Shane Warne, not Dave Warner. Similar face, similar character, except loyalty towards partner. True. England made up all colonies. Yeah, well, that's not the point, though, Tim. I can't imagine. So, is Australia lacking left-handed batters in the middle order? They're just, well, it's not about right-hand, left-hand. It's about simply getting their act together, and they seem to not do that. And there's something really fundamentally wrong there. It's hard to really tell you what's going on there. It's been one of those situations that I've just sent Marcus. It's Munchie. We'll see what he needs it on Instagram as well. There's no doubt that Australia showed up. Australia had not really been tested until last night. They only really came into play there with the way that So he's just getting okay. Okay, so how far has Steve and Warner fallen? Really fallen. They were chooks without a head last night, and Pandya could well be another problem for India. I don't think they should be in the team, but India are going to stick by them, I would gather. Namibia are now 7 for 73, chasing Afghanistan's 5 for 160. Namibia need 88 or 30 balls. They're not going to get it, clearly. 26 minutes before toss for the other match. That is India versus New Zealand. I don't think Guptill is at the stage of his career, nor do I. How likely is it that whoever wins toss wins the matches? Well, in the India-New Zealand game, you would think if New Zealand do win, that it gives them a great chance of winning the match. It's not emphatic, but it will give them a great chance. Afghanistan have broken that. Afghanistan, they played a minnow size in Namibia, but they've broken it. They won the toss. Afghanistan and batted first and got 160 for losing 5 wickets. But Namibia, 7 for 75, look all but gone. Abhishek Sharma says, Mauka for India to settle some scores against New Zealand. It's their opportunity to do so, for sure. Shane Warne said Steve Smith shouldn't play in T20s. Munchie agrees. Norman, are you with Warnie and Munchie? Yeah, I'm with it. Yep. I think he's playing too much. And I think and Warner needs to scores 165. One score of 65 and thinks he's going to be in for another 30 games. No, he won't be this time. He'll have to get his act together. Bring in Josh Inglis for Matthew Wade. That's my call. And do it very soon. New Zealand versus the World Cup statistics do show that New Zealand have not lost matches against this side. So, yeah, that's of interest to everyone. So we've got, I've just uploaded my 816th video, which means 524 recorded, which this one's included, and 292 live. This is the 292nd live show, guys. I'll have you know. And yeah, Zampa, very interesting interview with Zampa for sure. Zampa is on the ball for sure, guys. It's just a pity. It's just a pity how Australia's really fallen. I mean, they had some early matches, early wins against. Here we go, Munchie.
Good afternoon,
Thanks
everyone.
for joining, Munchie.
No worries. No, as I said, I think if Palmer and Baram have bailed on you today, then I'll hop in. Yeah. I actually just wanted to pick up on something that Tim was saying earlier about the Garden of England. If people, just a little bit of history for people. There we go. So Kent, as the state or the county, is referred to as the Garden of England because you used to have a tremendous amount of hop growth and the orchards and apples, etc. You used to get a lot of people from the East End of London would have their holidays coming out to Kent to pick hops for beers, etc. So it was known as the growing the fruit and the vegetables, etc. But Tim's right. Unfortunately, in the last few years, it's just basically been the building site where we've had the Channel Tunnel and all the housing going on. But that's the reference to the Garden of England. Tim just wasn't being facetious. It is actually the nickname for the county.
So why did the discussion head towards Munich and Germany? Where did that come from?
I think what had happened was someone was asking about me and might have misspelled it or someone misinterpreted it, and then they were talking about Munich instead of myself. Yeah. But Munich is beautiful country. I know you. Munich's a beautiful city. I know you've been there many times, Norman. But yeah, any place that has any place that has the Englisher Garden, yeah, it's got to be good.
Yeah. And I remember playing many a game on Englisher Garden in whites and startling the Germans. And I actually kind of represented Germany against a kind of Italian side in Ispra in Italy, and that side had as coach of all people. None other than, oh my God, what's his name? I've had a mental blank. Martin Crowe.
Yeah.
And he was alive.
The legend, yes. Yeah, sorry about the green screen behind me, guys. It's too messy. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, so Martin Crowe, he was coaching that side, which we beat. I had a bunch of English guys in my team, and I wasn't captain, though. Who was younger, Norman or Munchie? Munchie's younger. I think you're younger than me.
I don't know, Norman. Well, I think if we both grow our beards, then it'll be very difficult to tell us apart. But yeah, but my birthday's in December, so yeah, people can send me presents after that. Yeah.
just quickly, just on the matter of people who have passed away, 3 Australian legends in about 2-3 days. Yeah. Quite remarkable, and I had a relationship with 2 of them. Peter Philpott, I've got this. I wish I had it with me. It's in storage. I've got this magnificent book that he compiled in his own handwriting of all these incredible statistics. It's worthy of a book, and I don't think he got a chance to actually issue it. And it's just incredibly fortunate. I had a long chat with him. We were driving him back to his home that day, interviewed him at length. A great guy. Very, very. I don't know whether you know about Peter Philpott, but he was a legend.
I was reading about it earlier, and it was once again a shock to lose 3 Australian icons Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not good, but unfortunately, it's a fact of life. And he was a good age, which is good, as opposed to someone dying well before their time. But it is still sad.
Yeah, I mean, and they are living longer. There's no doubt about it. And Doug Wallace has got this piece of paper. Every time a player dies, especially the ones above him in age, he has the paper and he puts a line through their name. Quite cruel, I used to say to Doug, what are you doing? He goes, he's gone. And there's a line goes through, a line goes through. He doesn't destroy the paper, he just gives a line through their name. And he sees himself getting closer to being the oldest. He's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's got a few in front of him. Bobby Simpson, another player who's been ill for some time. I have to be honest, we all expected him to go first, and he's still alive, and the others have gone around him. There's
shows you how a dogged player he was. Didn't want to give up his wicket, and he doesn't want to leave us yet. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Right, I'm just going to quickly try something, Norman. Be right back. Sorry, 2 secs.
Sure.
Okay.
No, but it's a sad state of affairs when people pass, especially when you look up to them like I have, and having met them, can you imagine? I've interviewed some of these players. It's quite a privilege to be able to, have had that experience of interviewing a famous cricketer, and getting to know them, and it's really amazing.
There we go.
Oh my God, where is that?
This is Dubai. So this is the I was staying. I had a week there for work, staying at the JW Marriott. Massive. It's the tallest hotel that's purely a hotel. There are taller buildings with hotels in them, where this is purely a hotel, and 2 big towers. And in the lounge, the top floor, you got a great view over to the Burj Khalifa, which is just over my shoulder.
Wow.
Now, I was 60 odd floors up thinking, yeah, this is high. And then you see the Burj Khalifa towering in the distance. It's amazing. Yeah.
It is a phenomenal building, and one of the feats, and it's just got a pyrotechnic, amazement. It does these amazing things. They have all lit up on New Year's Eves and various events of the year. Now they're saying you're on top of a power plant.
Well, it looks like a power plant, but if people want to do a Google or internet search, then look for the JW Marriott in Dubai. It's two very large towers, 60 odd floors up. I know we were joking with Reg yesterday about the length of time it takes to the lift to go up when I'm in it compared to when it goes down, but it is still a major feat of engineering. But yeah,
I still reckon you've got Chernobyl back there.
Right, so let's look at the cricket. Let's talk about cricket for today. Well, brief cricket of yesterday, it was brutal. I think if you look at the words, it was just. I think we caught the beginning of the game before Reg and I wanted to jump off to watch it real time because obviously I've got a slight lag, which is unfortunate. But you could see, and I think Tim and the guys picked it up on the way that Owen Morgan thinks about the pairings, because he knew that Moeen Ali and Aaron Finch. Not a start, because Moeen Ali bowls into Aaron Finch's arc and dispatches him. So what did he do? Starts with Rashid. Rashid spinning the ball away. Livingston comes on, and Livingston's either bowling leggies or off spins, continually bowling the ball away. And it was a masterclass in captaincy, and then the bowling, and then the batting. You saw the intent. Yeah, Hazelwood, who I said yesterday I really rated as a bowler because he's bowls his heavy ball. Jason Roy takes 3 steps down, deposits him over cow corner. And that's just where it continued. And Butler, some of those shots were it was brutal. Yeah, you think of adjectives, and brutal comes to mind. It was just, you could see the Aussies were just thinking, what can I do?
Well, I mean, it says it all when you score 125 as they did, but England only took 11.4 overs to get to that. Yeah. That's where the brutality is.
Oh, well, they said Australia's power play was the second lowest, and England's was the highest. And that was it. And so that was yesterday. And okay, I'm glad the game's over with, because I was worried about that. I thought the teams were relatively evenly matched. And so you've now got South Africa and Sri Lanka. So you've got, on paper,
could be considered. A pity Sri Lanka didn't win that match.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka won that match, they would have been in with a chance to be in the semi. But they've lost their chance a little bit now.
Lucifer. Comparing me with Boris Johnson is not going to help my feelings towards you. I can't stand the bloke, so let's keep away from politics, please. Thank you very much. Yeah,
but hang on. You're giving respect to someone with the name Lucifer?
No, I'm just asking Lucifer. Please don't compare me to Boris Johnson. We call him Bojo the Clown for a good reason.
You're saying that Lucifer's the name we should honour. Do you really think this guy's name is Lucifer? I don't think it is.
Well, it's his nickname. Yeah. But comparing me to Boris Johnson or Bojo the Clown, no, not good. Yeah, but let's look at the match today. It's a must-win, isn't it? You can say.
Well, they both haven't won a game yet.
Yeah, it's could it come down to the toss? They were saying yesterday that the weather conditions after the second innings there wasn't as much dew. Milne coming, if Milne is coming in, he's going to strengthen that lineup. We saw him bowling in the T20 Blast and the 100 for in England, and he bowls a heavy ball. He's really coming in quick. He's going to give it 90 miles an hour plus. Whether it's going to be the same effectiveness on the pitches in the UAE, I'll wait to see. Looking forward to it. But I really rate him. I think I'm surprised he wasn't been playing in the New Zealand squad earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. New Zealand will be worrying India quite considerably. Because they won't be taking this lightly. They've had a week off. There's been varying comments whether it was good for India to take a week off. Well, they didn't take a week off. That was the way it was planned. But to not play straight after losing, what's your thoughts on that, Munchie?
I think someone raised this comment on an earlier call. I wasn't on. I was just making the comments. And to me, I would have wanted to play straight afterwards. It's the classic falling off the horse, get back on it. Whereas if you lose to Pakistan, you then play a couple of days later, right, you can rectify those wrongs. So what's happened? You've lost to Pakistan, and now India have been thinking about it all week. The media have been discussing it all week. You've had other issues deflecting from that. So obviously the Mohammad Shami tweets and things like that. So you've got all these things going on in the background, disrupting people, changing the mindset. Whereas if you play straight afterwards, you got on, hopefully have won a game, and then obviously get that Pakistan game out of the system. Whereas now you're building up, the pressure's growing. So you can almost see everyone be reverent to go today. And I hope they just don't over stress themselves trying to put in a performance.
Do you think they're going to change the opening combination of Rahul and Rohit?
I wouldn't. Why would you? You know, if you look at their performances, they're class players. Now you look at the way that Afridi bowled to them. Sometimes you just have to say well bowled. And as a left-arm bowler, he's bowled the perfect ball to Rohit straight up. That little one in swinging into the batsman. You just got to say, put your hand up. The bowler beat me. Now, obviously, they will try and push it a bit further, but by trying to stay in a little bit longer, might they be slightly negative, not wanting to lose their wicket, but not being as aggressive as they perhaps normally are. But I certainly wouldn't change them. There may be other players I'd like to change in the side. I don't think Pandya is fit enough at the moment. Certainly not just to play as a batter himself. Kishan or Iyer, probably better players than him. And then you look at the bowling attack. You know, do you keep with the same bowling attack, or do you bring in an extra spinner? I don't know. It's going to depend on the conditions.
Don't you think that? Don't you think that Hardik Pandya's been given enough of a go? For God's sake, seriously, if he doesn't perform today and they lose, well, they've got a little choice. They've got to get rid of him. They can't have him in the side. It's too much of a burden for their team. They need, as much as England needs a Ben Stokes, Hardik Pandya was needed, but he hasn't performed, so he can't keep on.
It may be a case of he's not performed. It may be he's just not capable of performing. You know, this injury that he had throughout the summer, and obviously in the IPL as well, it's hindering him. And if it is a back-related injury that's stopping him bowling, the other thing, of course, is when you're trying to hit the ball over the boundary as much as he's going to do, you're going to need a tremendous amount of upper body strength to do that. And if there's tweaks going on, or he's having cortisone injections for pain, it's going to restrict his movement. So, you know, perhaps they're playing him because of what he is capable of, and he is a great player when he gets going. And certainly as a finisher, you see in those couple of overs. But if he's not fit enough, he shouldn't be in the team.
But how many times? I mean, honestly, we've been talking about Hardik Pandya playing all year, whether it's Test matches earlier on, or one-days, or T20s, and now the World Cup, even the IPL. The guy has been given 400 chances, and I'm not saying he's not capable.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, I completely agree with you, Norman, and Nilakshi's come up with a good point that Shardul should come in for Pandya, because he can bat and he can bowl, and he gives you those options. He may not be as devastating a batsman as Pandya, but you've then got the option. And if we look at the England team that we were discussing yesterday, is you've got several bowlers. You've then got strong batsmen that can also bowl in Moeen Ali and Liam Livingstone. And Pandya coming in purely playing as a batsman that might be able to bowl, you're then limiting the ability and the flexibility within your own team.
Absolutely. So there's been a comment made by someone, and I don't think this man has the capability of actually working commentary. His name is Richard Vernon. And he said, his comments were, and I'll quote him, "It's rather annoying listening to Munshi talk so much common sense." So is it a backhanded compliment? I'm not sure what that is, but
it's definitely a backhanded compliment. Yeah.
Yeah. The reality is that this is England's. Who was it? Was it Michael Vaughan? I think it was, who said only a few days ago, or in fact yesterday, the team that beats England will win the World Cup. And that's
it's. As I said yesterday, and I'll stick by the comment, I think it's difficult to call out one outright winner. It's easier to say who your semi-finalists are, because on the nature of the T20 is you can have a couple of bad overs and then you're always playing catch-up, a bit like Australia yesterday. So England could play Pakistan. England could have really good overs against Pakistan and easily beat them. And similarly, the same with if India finished second and England top the group. India, you would say, but on the balance of play, England should thrash India. But all you need to do is India get a few early wickets, and then England are playing catch up and can't win the game. So it's very difficult in T20 because things can happen very, very quickly to change that. So I would say,
okay, that's still a very, very diplomatic type of answer, though.
It
Very-
is, but it's the nature of T20. If it was the 50 over, or obviously the Test matches, which are much a longer form of the game, then it's an easier one to call. But the T20, you could have 3 or 4 bad overs and the game's gone.
So do you think at this still rather early stage that other than England, Pakistan, and probably India, do you think South Africa is the other team, or is it Australia?
It's difficult to call. It's really difficult to call. If I compare the sides, South Africa have a good bowling lineup with Rabada and Norhir because they are gun quick. You look at the batting, and you look at the batting, and you've got De Kock is a good striker of the ball, Van Dusen, but it's the backup, and you can get a couple of quick wickets, and it's like, well, you're through them. So it's difficult. That second place in that Group A is up for grabs. I think even the West Indies, you can't, if they keep winning the remainder of their games, they could be in there as well. So I think the second place side, or the second place position in Group A, is the really interesting one to watch, because that's going to be very competitive, and net run rate is going to come into it. So therefore, Aussies hammering yesterday could really hinder them there.
The fact that Australia knocked off South Africa, albeit not convincingly, and to have South Africa potentially going above them is scratch your head stuff. Look, if South Africa lose to England, they probably won't get into the. It may still stay with Australia, but if West Indies have to beat Australia in their matches, and that's going to be a big order, a tall order to imagine. And the fact is, Australia's going to play West Indies and Bangladesh, 2 teams that beat them 4-1 only recently. Admittedly, a different side.
I wouldn't use that Bangladesh Australia series as a marker, because completely different conditions. You've seen the way the Bangladesh are performing over here, because the wickets aren't basically dust bowls. The effectiveness of their spinning unit is not as efficacy. Sorry, this word getting mixed up there. Sorry, the effectiveness is not there. In terms of their spinning unit they've got, so they're struggling. So I think Bangladesh and Australia series, I wouldn't use full one.
Okay, so what is going on here with these games? Why is England and why is Pakistan winning? Is it because they're handling the low and slow wickets better? Because they seem to be having no problems hitting sixes at will towards the end of the innings, where Australia, West Indies, to a certain extent, South Africa, Sri Lanka, they struggle getting sixes.
I think it obviously comes down to the quality of the batsman. In Butler and Roy, I think because they know that there is the depth in the team behind them, they can be that more aggressive. Now, you could say, if I use the example of Roy earlier on, he just walked down the track to Hazelwood just to show the intent and just said, right, I'm just going to slap it. Now, in another game, he could have slightly mistimed it, big top edge, and caught, and he's gone for 0. Whereas yesterday it worked. Butler is just a freak in some of the shots. I think one of them, who was it? I think Mitchell Stark bowled him an amazing Yorker, and he managed to push it out to the boundary for 3. And I think it comes down to the confidence, and obviously the other team's bowling at them. I think some people have been trying to put it into the slot or pitch it up, and the team say thank you very much. Whereas when England have been bowling, sometimes just doing it slightly shorter of a length, so the ball's not coming on as much.
Okay, there's a comment there by Nalakshi earlier on about where would you place Ishan Kishan. I think he has to be in the side, and I think Hardik Pandya has to go, and Shardul Thakur should be in the side. And I'm not sure who goes for his position. Maybe Shami. I'm not sure, but those 2 players have to be in the side. Ishan Kishan can really turn a match, and he's proven that, and he should be there. They need someone like him, even though we know Rohit and Rahul are incredible. Maybe Ishan Kishan needs to be there. He's very, very explosive. We don't know what the teams are at this point. There's been some people saying it'll be the same side.
Let me just get things up. So I'm just getting some pinging message.
Right.
No, I've got Go Live weekend, so I'm working at the same time. Sorry. Yeah.
You're working on Sundays?
Well, it's a Go Live weekend, so the client I'm working with Go Live on Monday, so that's why I'm sitting here in front rather than working outside.
On the heavy side.
I'm always on the heavy side, Norman. Richard will tell you that. Yeah.
You're also the tiny fast bowler. Is that what you're telling me?
That's the tiny fast bowler. Hence my the pseudonym there, Munchie TFB. Yeah.
Who did I say that to again?
You said that's
Vic
Jim
Ray.
Maxwell. Jim
Maxwell,
Maxwell, the god, Jim Maxwell. Yeah.
Well, next time Jim's on, you can come on and debunk that whole thought.
Okay. Oh, hang on. I'm just controversial, Tim. Butler, Babar, Kohli, Moeen, Stonish, Pant,
So
Bavuma.
they're saying that Hardik Pandya is having a bowl and has definitely marked his run up. So that's what they're implying, that he's going to play. Well, that could be very good foxing.
Yeah, so it's an interesting debate because I do like these debates about the team. So Tim's come up with a team so far of Butler, Babar, Kohli, Moeen, Stonish, Pant, Bavuma, Shadab, Rashid Khan, Wokes, Mills. I wouldn't have Stonish. Yeah, and to be honest, my captain's got to be Morgan. I think what he's showing, he may not be the best player, but I think he's worth it just for being the captain at the moment. I mean,
so hang on,
he's got
Bavuma? I wouldn't have Bavuma on the side, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Stoinis hasn't done anything this series. Yeah. They're two strange selections. Come on. I mean, Rizwan should be ahead of... I mean, Butler and... Yeah, where's Asif Ali? I'd bring him in. I wouldn't have Punt as keeper either, as the best so far. I'd leave Butler as keeper.
It does cause good debate. I like that. This is an easier debate than rather than saying who's your best Test 11, because you can't compare bowlers and batsmen now to bowlers and batsmen 50 years ago. Whereas something like this, it's an easier debate to have. Yeah.
But I mean, Stoinis, look, he's quality, but he hasn't done anything this series.
No.
I'd argue you'd have to put Maxwell in front of him, really. But look, Bavuma, you're kidding me? He's been atrocious. He says, when a person comes out and says, I'm nervous about I'm nervous as captain, that's not setting a very strong, support base for his team, really. Can you believe that? Would you have ever said that if you're a captain and said, I'm nervous? Jesus. Would you?
Oh, certainly not.
You would never say that.
Right. So, tremendous. I'm just obviously Afghanistan have won, and I applaud Namibia for the respect of Afghar when he came into bat. They gave him a guard of honour, and he was seen off by the team, and he's now been paraded off the pitch, and it just shows you the respect for the man. So good to see. So good pitch. Yeah, Season, good call.
Oh, I think it's great when they do things like that. It really is. I've got a lot of good feeling from Namibia, from Afghanistan, even Scotland. I love the way. Of course,
a lot of these teams we think, they only come together for the World Cup, but they play a lot of ICC tournaments themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So whereas obviously we'll have the Champions Trophy, the World Cup, the Test matches. A lot of these, second division, they call them, without being too disrespectful, but they play a lot of tournaments themselves, so they'll come and play against each other quite often. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, Hardik Pandya. Geez, I've never seen people talk about a player so much that's been underwhelming for so long, and I mean that not to be nasty on him, but really, they can't afford to keep him in the side. They really can't.
Can I use an analogy, Norman? And I'm going to go to Football World Cup. Now, we went through, a few years ago, a couple of World Cups where people previously had broken foot or a foot injury, but then David Beckham injured something called a metatarsal, which is a small bone leading to a toe. And then Wayne Rooney had another World Cup, metatarsal injury. And going into it, will they be fit? Will they be fit? And these players then came along to the World Cup, and clearly, they hadn't let the foot recover. They clearly weren't fit, and England suffered. Now, are they doing the same with Pandya because they're playing on his previous ability of what he could capable to do? And I've said this before: he should be, if he's fit, he should be batting, should be bowling. If he can't do any of those, he shouldn't be in the team, because you're going to have younger, fitter players to fill those slots. And this is a World Cup. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you should not have a player who hasn't done enough to deserve. I mean, if it were in the days of MS Dhoni, I'd be I would not even question it because his presence was enormous. Him being in the side was enormous, and it was very important. But Hardik Pandya doesn't deserve to be there at the moment. And if he's carrying an injury and he may end up playing at some stage in his career, he's got to get there again, and he hasn't got there. He hasn't got there.
I'd say to Lucifer, who says they will keep him in, Pandya is important. He was important. He was a great player. He had that opportunity to bat and bowl, and as a batsman, he was so destructive at the end. He's just not produced it. You didn't see him on the Tour of England. He didn't see it in the IPL. He's not worth his place at the moment. I'm sorry. Yeah. When you look at the other batsmen, certainly in that warm-up game when India slapped England all over the park, they're much better batsmen. Because if you're not going to bowl him, then you just play a batsman instead.
See, again, Ashwin bowled well in the warm-up match. Why isn't he here? Shardul Thakur. India, look, if India lose today, and they haven't made any changes this side, for example, there's going to be a lot of question marks. They're going to, because they probably have blown their World Cup chances.
Yeah, but if you look at the warm-up game, Kohli bowled. So were India really taking the warm-up game seriously?
Against Australia, you're talking about.
No, I didn't see the game, but I just saw the clip where Kohli came on to bowl, and I'm thinking, well, he doesn't normally bowl, so why are you doing that? The warm-up game is not there to have a bit of fun. It's there to get yourself prepared, try different scenarios, look at batting and bowling combinations to get ready for the World Cup.
Yeah, but they smashed Australia. They didn't lose did they not? I think they didn't lose a wicket, didn't they? Rahul and Rohit take it through. I mean, you can't knock what India did that day. Australia were abysmal, to be honest. But there's got to be something behind Ashwin's non-selection and Kohli. There has to be something going on there.
There's got to be clashes there. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Am I seeing a toss? Let's have a look here. New Zealand have won the toss and have chosen to bowl.
So New Zealand have chosen to chase then. Yeah.
Don't say that. Actually, it says field here. Now, look.
I'm casting out, Norman. I'm casting out. Yeah.
I know. New Zealand have won the toss, and I'm going to win the toss and elected to bowl. And what goes with bowling is fielding and chasing. Hopefully not. Okay, is that going to be? Have we just seen?
Just talking about New Zealand. Just talking about New Zealand, Norman, and I think it was a clip that you posted on Instagram, and it was an ethic that I think obviously they're trying to bring through to the whole New Zealand cricket. And it was an under-19 game where they were playing the West Indies under-19, and I think one of their batsmen got 99, got out, and obviously got cramp or something, and obviously was struggling to walk off the pitch. And the New Zealand players actually picked him up. This is the New Zealand under-19s. Picked him up and carried him off the pitch. And I thought, well, if that's the way that you're wanting to play cricket, no wonder people really appreciate. You can play the game hard, but you should be playing the game fair and attitude and things like that. That's what shows the respect of the game. That's the spirit of cricket, and that's what I love about it.
So Adam Milne has come in for Tim Seifert, who was effectively keeping, but now that puts Devon Conway as the keeper.
Yep.
So that means they've got an extra bowl on the New Zealand side, effectively. Look, they've won the toss. Oh, my God. Quite frankly, I'm now concerned about India. I really am. Really, really. They're up against it today. They're up against it. I'm a little bit concerned about this, to be honest.
I'm just looking now. I think you're looking India need about 180.
Okay, so Ishan Kishan comes in, and Sky is out, which they're saying he's got a lower back spasm.
Yeah,
but I reckon that's because he hasn't been playing well. Ishan can bat this one. Shardul Thakur comes in, new beauty for Bhuvi. So they made some pretty hard changes there, haven't they?
I'm not sure that's the right one.
What do you mean? They're living at Bhuvi? I think Shardul Thakur is the right choice.
Yeah, to bring Shardul is good, but Bhuvi should still be playing and not Pandya. My rationale my rationale is Bhuvi is a more accurate bowler, and if Pandya has only just started bowling, then you can't guarantee that he's going to have that ball on the spot. India are going to be bowling second. Yeah.
Look, what the hell's going on with this Coley tossing the coin? He's a shocker.
Well, who actually tossed? Who called?
Well,
Because I haven't got the footage here because they were still showing the Afghan
well,
side.
New Zealand won the toss. So doesn't that imply that they've won the toss because they're called and they've
Well,
called?
not necessarily.
No.
Coley could have called wrong. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's a 50-50 thing. Yeah.
Rohit Sharma,
Okay, Sharma, Kohli, Kishan. So I've got the side up here as well. Yeah.
So Rohit Sharma, Rahul, Virat Kohli at 3, if that's right. Ishan Kishan at 4. Great selection. Punt, Pandya, Jadeja, Shardul Thakur. So Pandya is batting up the order, which almost tells you that he's not bowling. Shami, Chakravarti, and Bumrah. So Shami, Chakravarti, and Bumrah, which were Thakur and Jadeja. There's your 5 bowlers, with Pandya maybe coming on. And then New Zealand, Guptill, Mitchell, Williamson, Conway, Glenn Phillips, who was disappointing. James Neesham, Mitchell Santon was very disappointing. Southey, Milne, Shorty, and Bolt. So there's no, they probably could have had Adam Milne didn't do badly.
If India can see off the seam, they could have a field day with the spinners. I think you're right with Mitchell Santner. I'm not a fan. Ish Sodhi can produce some good rippers, but again, I don't think he's got that consistency. So I think if certainly the blast from Trent Bolt and Adam Milne, India can play that through and just not get out but score reasonable runs, then I think they've got a fair shout of getting some of a good score, which they're going to need to get if they're bowling second.
Okay, let's just quickly look at. Okay, so India will be batting first, as we know. If they can survive a Bolt on Entourage. Okay, look at the bowling for a minute. Go to the second innings. Think of India's bowling.
Mm-hmm.
Bumrah and Shami are capable of doing well. Chakravarti, I'm not impressed enough about him at all. I would have had Ashwin. Thakur can have his day.
He's going to bowl a lot of cutters. See, this is the problem with Thakur. Bowling cutters at speed, you're going to want a decent grip on the ball. So let's fingers crossed there's no dew. Because as soon as that ball gets slightly damp, when you're trying to then run your fingers over the ball to get the cutting motion, if you can't really get a decent grip at speed, that ball's just going to slip out.
I actually think India's bowling because of the reliance on what will appear to be Hardik Pandya at some stage bowling. They're going to suffer.
I'm worried for that.
But I mean, Ashwin bowled well in the. Why are they giving Ashwin a go? This is a mistake now. I tolerated it during the Test series. I understood it. They did well. Thakur did very well. They got through that. They basically won that series, even though the 5th match is yet to happen. They did win that series without Ashwin. But here, I think they're lacking an Ashwin.
Yeah, I agree, and we said it before. Yep. Tim, you're right. Guptill likes the ball coming on. So we'll see what happens.
I'd say
it's worrying now, especially with the toss. Yeah,
I'm very, very, very worried.
I think you're right.
I'd actually suggest. I'd say India are up against it. I really, really think India are up against it. If they get a bad start, they're in some deep trouble because New Zealand can control the match when they bat second. And even though New Zealand didn't bat that well in their first match, put it that way.
Yeah. So a couple of things. John, I think your keyboard's stuck. Your return key's stuck. Now actually, which team am I going to support today? That's a difficult one.
The New Zealand batting side's not strong.
Yeah.
It is not strong. Sanders at 7. Phillips has not done well. Conway is probably okay. Mitchell, I'm not sure about. Guptill's probably maybe past it. Conway, Williamson, and maybe Neesham are the only 3 that I would rate in that side. And Neesham's not really in great form either. I'll tell you what, that's not the strongest New Zealand batting side.
No, it's not. but it's just I can't call it. It's going to be a very interesting one. Someone's already said it's a knockout game. It is, yeah.
It is. It's a quarterfinal. It is a
I
quarterfinal.
like both sides. I have friends that support both teams, so it's very difficult to say one or t'other. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to sit on the fence like I did the World Cup final, or Chess Championship final. Sorry.
Look, India worry me. India worry me greatly. I mean, look, if they click, they'll beat anyone, right? If Rohit Sharma and Rahul and Ishan Kishan get the key here is Ishan Kishan. He's the key, and even Shardul Thakur are the key in their batting lineup. I really think those two could make a big difference. Hardik Pandya may bat okay. He may get away with his batting, but his bowling will become extremely crucial later, and he's not good enough to be a backup bowler. Chakravarti's not. He's below what I would like to see.
Well, the concern I've got now is if they are relying on Pandya to bowl, and he's got to come in to bat, and then he starts throwing his bat around and then tweaks something, then he can't bowl. Yeah. And this is a problem with playing someone that's obviously not fit. I think Pandya is not overrated. When he is fit, he is a good player. He's more a batting all-rounder rather than a bowling all-rounder.
Yeah, he's definitely a batting all-rounder.
Yeah. But we saw him previously in previous IPLs. He slaps that ball all over the place. He's not overrated. No, he's not fit at the moment. That is the problem.
Which makes him as good as not being on the side. Look,
I like the hashtag, Tim. Hashtag free Ashwin. Hashtag free Ashwin. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, look, Ashwin has not played for his country throughout an entire Test series and now into a T20 series. Something's wrong. He is one of the most prolific wicket takers in the world in all formats. Now, there's something not right here. Something's not right. There must be something between Kohli and Ashwin. And if that is the case, when Rohit Sharma takes over, let's say, as captain at some stage, I'll bet that Ashwin's suddenly back on the side.
Well, you saw it during the Test series. There was one point where India were batting and all the team were in the changing room and Ashwin was sitting outside under a blanket. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And he's a very strong character, Ashwin. He's not a shrinking violet. He wouldn't shut up.
We know that. We know that. Yeah. Angel Wings. If England and Pakistan meet in the final, I couldn't call it. I think they're both equally a strong sides. If you look, they've got a good balance. They've both demonstrated so far that they've got very attacking batsmen and very destructive bowling. So I wouldn't say it's an easier thing to say that England will beat Pakistan. No, sorry, Norman.
I think it'll be an England-Pakistan final. I'm going to be very strong on it now because the way the Indian team lineup looks here, I'm not happy with them. Not only am I not happy with their lineup, I'm also not happy with the fact that they've lost the toss yet again. I've got a feeling New Zealand's going to win this. If that's the case, India are gone. And
it's only 2 games down, yeah. And India can win the other games, or will then come down to run rates. Yeah, it's going to be very tough.
If New Zealand win today and they win the games they're supposed to win, and India lose today and they win the games they're supposed to win, they're not going to win the same points. And the other issue is, let's say even if India win today, something's not right with India. And I'm really now seeing England. You can say quite clearly, and you can't go against it. England will play Pakistan. That's my thoughts.
Well, based on the play at the moment, yes, but I think there's still a way to go. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Today's going to tell me a lot about any other chance to get up there. Today's the big day for me because if India can get their act together and win a game, especially because they lost the toss and they're not doing what they like to do.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to find an answer to Sonu's question about why Ross Taylor's not in the side. I don't think he's retired.
He's coaching. He was coaching Papua New Guinea, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he was retired. So if anyone's got some other information, sorry. Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't be coaching another country during a World Cup unless he has to be retired.
Yeah.
Because he would have been picked in the squad for sure if he was playing.
Well, I would have thought so, yeah.
So if he's coaching Papua New Guinea during a World Cup, which Papua New Guinea were in the World Cup qualifiers, he can't be there in any way, shape, or form as a player, and would have to have retired. I mean, that's...
may have retired from the short form game, a bit like the likes of Anderson and Broad, just to extend the Test career.
Yeah, I mean, so Namibia didn't even get 100 in their.
No, well, the Afghan spin bowling is awesome, yeah. And this is what I love about the game of cricket, because people talk about the devastation that fast bowling can bring when we go back to the West Indians of the 80s. But when you look at I know Mujib didn't play, but Mujib, Nabi, Rashid Khan you don't necessarily have to be bowling at 100 miles an hour. You can be bowling at 60, 70 miles an hour. But if that ball's spinning, spitting, etc., yeah, it's equally as fearsome as a fast bowler. So.
Oh, God, yeah. So, have Afghanistan got any hope of making the playoffs?
I think obviously they're going to have to beat either India or New Zealand, but I wouldn't discount them.
Well, they didn't beat Pakistan, which was
yeah.
They almost did.
They almost did, but because it's interesting where they win the toss and they then choose to bat and bowl second, and you would have thought even in dewy conditions, but they favour getting runs on the board and then defending. Yeah. Even against Pakistan, I thought, well, surely bowl first, but no, that's their game plan and they're sticking to it.
Well, they've just proved good enough against Namibia, didn't they? Absolutely pummeled them.
Oh yeah. Well, Namibia are, the second division, the next division down. So Namibia, Scotland, Papua New Guinea, and they're good teams. And if they have a good set of players, they might be able to get a World Cup, which they've done and qualify. And it's great to have them there. But certainly, I don't think there was ever going to be a fearsome threats to them.
No, they're not. But I mean, this exposure only does them good.
Oh yeah,
doesn't it? This exposure. And Afghanistan are clearly first rung now. They're first rung. You cannot call them second rung.
No.
What a pity Australia's not playing Afghanistan in that Test match in November. That would have been a bottler.
Yeah,
because Afghanistan would have been very impressive.
Well, how many years ago would you have thought you were having a cricket tournament and there's an auction coming up, and how would you have thought when you said the first player that gets picked is an Afghan player? Because you think about it, when the 100 came up, I think everyone tried to go for Rashid Khan to start with, because he's that much of an influence. And that's what you think. You would have thought, West Indian, a South African, an Indian, Australian. Nope. The first player that people wanted, Afghan. And I'm sure when it comes to the IPL, again, I don't know what's going to happen there. He'll be up there as a selection. The same with the BBL. It's not only the fact that he's a great bowler; it's what he brings to the team spirit. It's just, you see him out on the field and his supporters and things. It's great to see, and certainly when he's playing down at Sussex, I know they love him down there. Yeah.
But then also Mujib was a great bowler as well, and Shazad batting, and they've got quite a lot of batters who are pretty competent there. Yeah. To me, there's a lot to be alike there, I tell you. And
well, I think Shazad and I Shazad and I share the same personal trainer. Yeah, we're on the same diet plan. Yeah.
I think the personal trainer's on suspension for bad performance or bad advice, or maybe fraudulent. Says he is a personal trainer, but he's not really. It's probably the truth. Now, look, okay. To me, who's going to win this? I need to find this out from you. I want to know why.
I am going to go India to win this.
Yeah, you'd still think on paper that'd be the case.
Yeah, I think on the balance, New Zealand have some good little players in there, but I think overall, India will do it. Yeah. If they don't, then fine, fair play to New Zealand. You just want the best side to have won. Fortunately, with DRS, we don't really get any controversial decisions anymore, which is good. Hopefully, there's no due, because obviously that does impact what's going on. But yeah,
why would New Zealand play Devon Conway as the opener? He's devastating at that position.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, they're saying certainly Guptill and Mitchell. They're trying to get out there. Mitchell probably there as a pinch hitter, and then Conway to come in and then push around after that.
and Glenn Phillips.
Yeah,
It's a.
not seen him
They
do a
got
lot
some,
actually.
they got
Yeah,
some selection mistakes going on there for sure. Hardik Pandya for India and Mitchell Santner for New Zealand. My two scratch my head players. I don't know whether they're.
yeah.
But Shardul Thakur's presence could be important. I'm
Could be,
expecting
yeah.
him to have a big game.
Yeah.
With bat and ball.
Yeah.
Because he can play.
Harsh Gupta. Conway is a Test player, but he actually made his name playing T20, and that's how he got into the Test screen.
But he was opening, I'm pretty sure, when he did that too. So why would you, I mean, look, I'm going to talk about Chris Gayle for a minute. Chris Gayle has finally found his right batting position. He should be opening. Even though he's older, he should be opening. That's his spot. And they put him in there finally. They got rid of Lendl Simmons, who blocked half the innings. So, to me, I look at that New Zealand side. I have Devon Conway in there for sure opening because they need a powerful start. Look at England. They don't go beyond 2 down. You shouldn't need to. If you're a good batting side, you shouldn't need to lose more than 2 wickets. Surely. 20. It's only 20 overs.
It's only 20 overs, but it's a very attacking 20 overs. But you look at the mindset.
Yeah, but a good batting side should have attacking batsmen who can survive and get the runs in. Hang on. England only need 11.4 overs to get it.
It was just the Australians, wasn't it? Yeah.
But they did the same thing to West Indies. They got rid of them in 9 or 10.
Oh, yeah, it was 55 to chase, though, wasn't it? Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Teams can scratch around and get 55 after 15 overs.
Right, just looking at the table at the moment, yeah, New Zealand and India both got 0. Oh, geez, that's not good. Afghan's net run rate is now +3. That's, yeah.
Afghanistan's net run rate was actually +6.5 at one stage after the first match.
Yeah, because they smashed Scotland, but +3, that's, yeah.
So what are you saying?
So what I'm saying is when we're talking about the teams playing each other and getting points off each other, and this is where the net run rate is going to come in. Obviously, we were talking about Group A and affecting Australia. Yeah, when you've got this idea of the net run rate and we've seen it as well, where teams got knocked out of the IPL, where the team finishing 5th has got a 0.1 or 0.2 less run rate. It's it's going to be critical. Yeah.
See,
I don't have the international stadium. Sorry. If I could have a live feed, it would be even better.
There is a chance that Pakistan could be 1 and Afghanistan could be 2. There is an outside chance.
Yeah.
If Afghanistan knock off, New Zealand, for example.
Right. I'm gonna get the fixtures.
So Afghanistan have already beaten Namibia. I think they've beaten Namibia, haven't they? They've played 3. They were beaten by Pakistan. They beat Scotland, and they beat Namibia. So all Afghanistan have to do is play New Zealand and India. If they win one of those matches, they've got a great chance of staying second.
Yeah, Wednesday, Afghan-India. That's going to be a big game. Then Afghan-New Zealand, yeah.
If New Zealand beats India today and Afghanistan beat New Zealand, that's going to pretty much put Afghanistan through.
Yeah, well, this is where the run rate's going to come down to it. Yeah.
But really, even if India beat Afghanistan, but New Zealand beat India today,
India will smash Scotland. And India will smash Namibia. Those are no-brainers. So they may be, if they have a bad result today, they have to look at those 2 games and just go all guns blazing to get the net run rate up.
The loser of today is.
It's if and buts and maybes.
No, the loser of today can only go to 6 points if they win the last 3 matches. Right? Afghanistan needs just to win 1, and they're on 6. So,
actually, we're about to say Pakistan, but they've beaten all the big teams, haven't they? They've beaten New Zealand and they've beaten India. So yeah,
they're only going to play Namibia and Scotland.
Yeah, they're through. Yeah, they're number 1. Yeah, it is that battle for number 2 now.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
but Afghanistan, if they can knock off, and I'll say it again, if New Zealand beat India and Afghanistan beat New Zealand, Afghanistan could well see themselves through.
Yeah, I can see India beating Afghanistan, but I can see Afghanistan getting a positive result against New Zealand.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
would be enough on a net rate, because Afghanistan won't go through the floor with their net run rate. That 3 might end up being 1.5 or maybe 1.8. It's going to.
Do we know what the injury to Mujib is?
No, I don't. But he was out for. I'd say it's only one match. But could you imagine that Pakistan, Afghanistan go through?
Yeah, just
it's possible.
Amazing.
It is very, very possible.
I mean, I'd like it for the Afghanistan team, and especially for the country, given what they're going through at the moment, and the reaction to Afghar and the way that they were, the respect shown to him. I thought it was a great touch, a lovely touch by the Namibians. I'll say it again, where they gave him the Guard of Honor coming on, and you've got the Guard of Honor coming off, and just been paraded around the ground. That's great. That's respect. That's what I love about the game. Yeah. Once the game's over, of course, while you're playing, you swear at the batsman. Yeah.
Really, India, if they lose today, even if they win the other 3 matches, will get 6 points. And if Afghanistan win that one game against New Zealand, that could well see Afghanistan through.
Yeah. Just to reiterate what we were talking about earlier on, I'm hoping that the Indians are slightly more relaxed. There's not too much tension and pressure on them because they've had that week gap between that Pakistan game and today. Tim, 60-40, 50-50. It's all very much of a muchness between the two sides. It's difficult to call. Yeah.
This is probably the most stressful match in terms of anticipation and results. I think this, except for the semis and finals, of course, this is the most.
It is now. I'm sure the game last Sunday would have been massive. Yeah. But obviously this game is obviously the negative result for India. But this game is now massive. Yeah.
Again, if India win this, they're second, and they're going to be second because they're going to beat everybody else. But if they lose and Afghanistan win, we have a brand new semi-finals.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
And England will play Afghanistan.
Most likely. Well, based on the current plan, yeah, you'd think so. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Okay, let's dream a bit now. Can you imagine if England get knocked off by Afghanistan? England have an absolute shocker, and Afghanistan gets through.
It can happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Afghanistan could be in the final against Pakistan. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Well, I wouldn't want to even consider some of the political ramifications. Yeah. But let's not go there.
It's possible. Yeah. It's extremely possible. Extremely possible. All right, so we're looking at a start within any minute now.
They've got Kane Williamson on screen. He needs a big innings today. But it's interesting when we talk about Steve Smith and Kane Williamson, test level, great. Kane Williamson has kind of done it in T20s, and so you justify his selection for the team. But I think when you look at the class of batsmen, Smith is great, but just not the short form game. He's just not there. Yeah.
Well, Smith has to be kidding himself if he thinks he's ever going to be Australian captain again, even in Test cricket.
Sorry, Tim, are you just putting all the names into a hat and just pulling them out randomly for your revised Fantasy 11? Yeah.
Devon Conway and Coley opening the batting. What?
I was just Fantasy 11 for today. Sorry, yeah.
Daryl Mitchell, you're kidding me. Trent Bolt is shot in that. Chakravarti's overrated. Please stick around for this opening a couple of overs, Munchie. I know I'm dragging you on a bit, but to me, opening, the so-called power play we're about to witness, I'm over this. You know what? I'm telling you, I'm going to fume here. I'm over this knee business. I'm sorry. Why? Because I'm not racist at all, but I'm over it. I think, what is this? What are they doing with this? Why are they? I'm sorry.
Let's just leave it there, Norman. Let's just stick to cricket. Yep.
I wish they wouldn't do it. It doesn't achieve anything. Because some of these people that are on their knees are racist, but they're doing it because they've been told to do it. Okay?
I'm not going to get drawn into the conversation, Norman. It's too emotive a subject for certain people, and it's probably best. I'm certainly not in a position to talk about.
Okay. All I'm saying is, I just don't think it does any good. It doesn't. It's easy for people to be forced to do something if they don't want to do it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a few seconds at the beginning of the game. Okay, yep, fine.
Leave it be. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Trent Boult, can he do a Freddie?
Yeah, well, just remember, I may have a slight delay between what you're watching and what I'm watching. So hopefully not. I know there's certainly a couple of minutes between Reg watching yesterday and myself.
Yeah. See, we had a first ball bowled.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
Tell you what, South Africa and India are two of the worst runners between wickets I've ever seen. South Africa plays, they've got no idea what they're doing.
There were some classics going on. Yeah.
Oh.
Mind you, and again, but you talk about, that was one side, but you then look at the running of Butler and Roy yesterday. They were running for everything. They were really putting the pressure on the Aussie bowlers.
They did it brilliantly.
Yeah. Drop and run, taking one for the arm. I think it was a lovely bit yesterday where they'd called for a run, not particularly realising how close the fielder was to the ball. And actually, over the microphone, you could hear Butler going, "Oh!" just as he was trying to stretch to make the crease.
Norman is harsh because Norman is supporting New Zealand this match. I'm not supporting New Zealand this match. I really think that India should win, but I'm just worried. So Tim Wilton Davies says he wishes he had his holiday in Dubai. England weather sucks.
It does.
Bad
yeah. Oh, it's been awful this morning. Oh, the sun's coming out now.
You and I haven't commented. Look who's opening. Rahul and Kishan.
Yeah, very strange.
Well, no, I think it was good. I think it's why is it strange? Ishan Kishan is an opening batsman who goes for it. I think it's a very clever move.
Yeah, so why not Rohit and Kishan?
He's got 70 odd in the match not long ago from opening. I think this is, but India have done their homework a little bit. Okay, they've put Ishan Kishan in. They're saying it's because of an injury to Suresh. I don't think so.
Boult might like a left-hander though.
Boult's shaking said yes.
Yeah, Tim, actually got a couple of friends of mine flew out a couple of days ago to Dubai. I'm very envious of them now that we can travel.
But I like India have done some work to their team. There's no way that Ishan Kishan's in the side because what's his name? Sky Kumar is got an injury. My foot
going down the leg.
No, he's not out.
Yeah.
There's no way that Sky Kumar's been stood it down because of an injury. He's Ishan Kishan's come in.
Yeah. At this stage, Norman, I would also like to congratulate the umpires because pretty much all the umpiring have been spot on. I can't think of any DRS decisions where you've gone, the umpires had a shocker there.
Oh,
they've always been, they've all been near enough on the bar. The umpires calls on the stump, so it's good to see. Let's hope it continues.
I'm a little bit shocked at how conservative these two are, but I mean, considering they were 2 down last time they played.
That's what I was saying earlier. I'd be concerned if they were trying to keep it too conservative, and so they don't lose any wickets. But of course, the risk being if you're too conservative, then you're not putting the runs on the board.
But they've reacted to their game. They have changed the team. Ishan Kishan's come in. Shardul's come in. I commend those selections. And Hardik Pandya better bloody well play well.
There's not as much movement as Woakes was getting yesterday.
No. But I hate Warner's comments. Warner said yet again, "Oh, my 60% I'm in form again." Then he gets out for one the next innings. That's not form.
And I see the English supporters gave him his welcome on the boundary as well. Yeah.
And he's no longer with Spartan. He's back with, not back with, but he's newly with DRS or DSR or they call it.
Yeah, what you see on the batsman's, the maker, not necessarily the same bat. Yeah.
Of course not. It's probably still a Spartan bat with stickers on.
I can certainly give you some references, but I'm not going to do it on air recorded. But we visited a bat maker near us, and I saw some names on there. I thought, well, there. Oh, we provide the bats for them. No, you don't. They're supplied by the bat they're sponsored by. Oh, yeah, they're sponsored by them. It's not the bats they use. Yeah.
You know where the bats come from? Keeley's.
I don't know where they come from. Where the ones that's Warner may use, but certainly I can give you. These are past players, and they did not use the bat that they were sponsored by. Yeah.
But Keeley's, Keeleys, are two guys, brothers, who are ex-Grey Nichols bat makers. They open up their own backyard stall, their own willow trees. They've built by their own bats. Baba Azam and all these Ali go there. They all go there, including Warner, Gale, Tendulkar, etc.
Yeah.
And they get the bat. They get the wood from there, and they go and put their own stickers on it.
Yeah, because Grey Nichols is only an hour from me where I live, and I've had my bats repaired by them before, and it's great. Yeah, because
look up Keeley's. Go visit the Keeley's place. That's where the best. Keeleys. I've actually got one of their bats too.
Let's have a look.
So next World Cup's in Australia. Which are you going to? Munch, are you going to make a trip down to Australia to watch that?
Well, whether we can do next year, but I'm desperately trying to get out there. As I said to you before, my wife's got some good friends north of Sydney, Amina Beach, and we're desperately trying to get out. And obviously, COVID has played havoc with that. But I've got some friends from obviously where we've been playing cricket. We had Aussies coming over, as I've got friends in Perth, Melbourne, Sydney. So we'd like to make a nice trip out there.
But you will see me in England in 2023.
You said you're coming over, yeah.
So KRL Hills is a nice lofted on drive.
Mm-hmm.
This is a much better start from India, at least in terms of being wicketless.
Yeah. Keeleys, East Sussex, Battle. Yep, just down the road from Grey Nichols. Yeah. John Newbury, he was also an ex-bat maker. You'll see a lot of the Surrey players. David Weiser, Sussex, he uses John Newbury now. John Newbury, the brand was a few years ago, the Molyneux bats that came out, but he was an ex-bat maker for Grey Nichols as well.
Yeah, but you go and check out Keeley's. Their willow wood is from their backyard. It's quite incredible. Yeah.
It's fascinating. I've been lucky enough to pop down to Grey Nichols a couple of times and actually take a touring party down there, and it's amazing when you talk to the proper craftsmen, and they're showing you the bats in the various stages of manufacture. And this is I'm trying to think, about 10 years ago last time I was there, and they were talking about the advent of T20 and white ball cricket. The bats are effectively the same weight that they were, and they've always been like 2.8, 2.10, 2.12. The difference is they're not pressed as much, so that's why you see these big thick edges on them. So it's more explosive off the bat. The only problem being that the bats themselves no longer have the durability that they used to in the past, because they're not being as pressed, so they're not as hard and treated. And so the problem being that, of course, a £500 bat you may only use for one season now before it breaks. Yeah.
And I don't think players care about that too much.
They don't. Yeah, but general public playing games, £500 every season is not money to be sniffed at. Yeah.
I mean, the best bats in the world, bar none, Grey Nichols are right up there. I've got a lot of time for Gunnar Moore too. Mm-hmm. That's what I got from Gunnar Moore.
It's going to come down to the wood and the bat makers. Yeah. As you say, with the Keeleys, if you can get some master craftsmen, it's amazing what they can do. Yeah.
Well, these two, they're two brothers, and there's another guy involved as well. They're drinkers. They prance around with the Rolling Stones guys. They're in that sort of mode. Their place is not marked by any signs. And when we were there 2 years ago, a bit over 2 years ago, Baba Azam walked in. Azhar Ali walked in. Bats were shown that were being made for even Tendulkar, though he's not really playing much. So, and definitely Gale, and all those players were all using the wood from this place.
Oh, no,
I
I've
was putting
just seen the address here. Yeah, Thorndon Sawmill. I know exactly where it is. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, those
Going
days
off
are behind me. I have a trusty old piece of willow upstairs in the loft that keeps me going for the odd game occasionally.
Ishak Hashan's faced 4 balls, hasn't scored a run yet. I just spoke too early.
Yeah,
He's
well,
just lobbed one
they're
of them.
tight. It's New Zealanders. They're a good bowling unit. So it's going to be tight, but you need to put the pressure on them.
Ishak Hashan's just hit a 4 over mid on, and he's showing some form there.
All right, so we've got a couple of overs. Yeah. So, guys,
I
wish India well.
Yeah. A bit of a ball over the row. Sharma's not opening the batting, though. We let someone spins.
Well, it's interesting, yeah. I wonder how they decided that. Whether it was a decision
it would have been left-hand,
or
right-hand. It would have been left-hand, right-hand. They would have made that decision. So that's where Shikhar Dhawan was always good. He was, and he could still have been good in this tournament. He's still up there, if you ask me. He's still a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
New Zealand's bowled well. They're bowling well, but look.
What I'm really surprised is that Shikhar Dhawan not playing in the BBL, given that his family is Melbourne-based, I believe, Norman?
His daughters are both in Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's going through a divorce as well.
Oh, it's a shame. Sorry to hear that, yeah.
So I think he's going through. That might make it difficult for him.
Yeah. Harsh, what do I think about Winston Churchill? I'm not going to go down that route.
He played for Sussex, did he? Or what did he play for?
If you talk to a lot of certainly more right-wing people in this country, they'll talk about Winston Churchill, great leader, saw us through the war, etc., which he did. But I know there's also the flip side about his attitude towards India as well, which is, it does negate against the glowing persona that some people have of him. So probably not a good conversation to have right now. Sorry. I'm sit on the fence on that one. Sorry, Harsh.
Well, Ishaq Hashan's has been caught.
Sorry, you're definitely ahead of me then.
Yes, Ishaq Hashan's just been caught at the deep mid wicket.
Caught at the deep. Sorry, yeah, definitely a ball because I just
deep square leg
slash one to backward point. Yeah. Actually, looked like a no ball that one. Oh. I think I'm behind you on a ball.
He played it very well. He played it very well. Unfortunately, there was a person underneath it. Now, who comes in at 3? Will it be Rohit Sharma or will it be Kohli?
Oh, it's a good flick. Stand out, yep.
You can't call it a bad shot. Well, that didn't work, but it was a good attempt. I'm getting a feeling that this Rohit Sharma's going at 3.
I'm wondering if New Zealand bowled for that. Because they've previously put the balls outside the off stump, and then Bolt's put them one short on his hip, and the man didn't have to move match it backward square.
Well, at least India haven't lost the 2 wickets in the way they did against Pakistan. But India, it hasn't worked because they're only 11 runs after not even 3 overs, so they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, see, Sam, what it
I
is.
Really don't know.
Sorry, I've just answered about the streaming. The way that I watch it here is I'm not watching on the television. I've got it's an app that comes through the desktop in my I call it the office, just spare bedroom. So of course it's Sky feeding that particular desktop. So as opposed to other people watching on the television, etc. That's why you're ahead of me. Just somewhat annoying. You're talking about a ball that I haven't seen yet. Yeah.
But I don't know. They should have probably left Rohit with Ishaq Hashan. Oh, he's just hit a beautiful shot. He's out. Oh my God, he's out. He's out. Or was he dropped?
You'll say something. Zishan said he's dropped, and I haven't even seen it yet.
Oh my God, they've dropped a sitter. They have dropped a sitter. They could have had Rohit Sharma out first ball.
Well, that'd be a king pair then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and he hit it straight, and this right through his hands. Awful.
Oh,
Very straightforward catch.
that was milled.
That was straight down his throat.
They're playing for
That
it
was
as
an
well,
easy
dropping
catch.
that short one in. Yep.
That was a. Ooh, that was a. Will they rue that drop catch? Is the question.
Can't show it, Sonu. Sorry.
Norman, show us also. Show us what
I can't show. Can't show the footage. Yeah.
I can't show the footage, but why aren't you watching something?
That's a shocker. That really is.
The ball was quite short in the end.
Yeah.
It was a lot shorter than it looked.
Yeah.
And
Indian guys, is the lady in the pink Rohit's wife? Because everyone was shaking her as if
they showed some people who were anguishing. It could have been.
Yeah. Geez, that was a long first over. Well, actually, in the third over. There we go. Sorry.
It's now into the fourth over, and they've only got 12 runs. I mean, let's not worry. India can certainly hit back with some big shots towards him. We know that. No, Sono, I can't show you. If I show them in trouble.
Yeah. There's a
But there are
whole
plenty
heap
of channels.
of pain.
What really annoys me, there are channels that that are around who show everything, right? And they get huge followers, right? But they get given a strike, but they risk the strike so as they get lots of followers. But one of the guys on my show, the cricket guy, that looks like it's his wife. Yeah, that looks like it's his wife. But yeah, it's there's a show called That Cricket Guy, Soban, who's been on my show. He's sometimes been a guest host. He gets hundreds of thousands upon millions watching his videos on his YouTube channel, but he usually of things he's not allowed to show. So he doesn't mind getting large hits and then being told to he's got a strike against him. He knows that. It's quite clever of him. But that's not what I'm after. I'm not after quick, cheap shots. Santner's bowling. Santner's bowling some very short stuff, but he's getting away with it.
Well, that's it. By bowling it short into the deck, you're not enabling the batsman to put their foot down and really swing through the arc.
It won't take long before Sharma will rock back and pull him.
Oh, yeah, indeed. But then obviously Santner will then have to adjust his line and his link.
Yeah, I never really rated Santner, I'm afraid.
Which is strange, given that he would have had Daniel Vettori as a coach. And Vettori was a great left-arm spinner.
Oh, yeah, look, just hasn't risen to the heights. And it always seems to be that, especially the IPL, they love to go and grab New Zealand players that are on the fringe and bring them into the IPL. There's quite a few that are in that boat. I don't know whether they're cheap or what, but I don't know. They're not quite up to it. Kane Williamson's beard, there's a few players. I think Conway's got a beard. They've all got these horrible... Saudi's got this horrible beard as well. They're going to miss Shastri, but they're going to have Rahul Dravid. That's a bit of a bonus for them, isn't it? As a coach.
I love Dravid.
He's distinguished. I mean, he and Laxman, Ganguly, Tendulkar, what a bunch of batsmen they were, and what stylish players.
Well, Dravid was he spent a season at Kent, and so much respect for him. Yeah, just. We actually, it's another story. It's another village just down the road from us, and they had a fundraiser, and they had a Kent 11. And I generally when it happens with Kent 11, you get a couple of names come along, but actually Murali came along. Muralitharan was playing for Kent that year, and he came and we're like, wow, he's come up to this little village team, and obviously it wasn't playing because it wasn't my team, but chatting to the players, they couldn't believe it. And one of them went out to bat, and he was batting quite well. Murali came on to bowl. And you could tell that he wasn't bowling at full gas, But eventually Nick had got out. He come back in and he said, "Oh, that was amazing. I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life." And he said, "Well, what do you remember?" He said, "Well, the thing you could hear was the ball fizzing." And Murali came off and he was chatting to the players afterwards, and they said he was just such a lovely man. And that was just, such a memory that these guys have. And I know, Dredd would the same when he was playing. They would have played some of these little warm-up games. They don't really have to be there, but it's there. They're raising funds. And this was in the time where players used to have a benefit. So every 10 years, a player could be entitled for a benefit. So they had spent the whole summer basically fundraising for their retirement because they didn't have the money that they have now with the IPL, etc. But to get these huge international stars coming on to play these little village teams, it means so much for the village players and people watching them. But they don't have to do it, but they do it. And that's what we love about the game. Yeah.
I played for I'll call it a Sri Lankan Invitational 11 in Sri Lanka at a place called Senegala, which is where MCC played. We played against a British parliamentary 11, and Arjuna Ranasonga batted with us. And I opened the batting. They gave me heaps because they said, "You don't look Sri Lankan," and they were giving me heaps. And then Arjuna came in after me. First shot, it was really good. I've also had the privilege of being in a stand watching Murali break the record for the most wickets ever.
Yeah.
And who was I sitting next to? Did I tell you who I was sitting next to?
No.
Okay. A quick story. I got tickets from Arjuna because we're very close to him. He gave me tickets. I'm in the players' box, all the players' family, all sitting around, and all these kids are there and everything. Two ladies come in, and I've got two spare seats next to me, and they go, "Can we sit here?" I said, "Sure." So I started speaking to this lovely young Indian-looking lady, and not Sri Lankan. And I was like, "Is that a catch?" Looks like there's been a catch. Was it the same one? Anyway, so I'm talking to this lady forever, maybe an hour or so, right? I've got no idea who she is, right? And then she casually pipes up and says, "Oh, that's my husband out there." I said, "Oh, who?" "Oh, the one with the ball in his hands." It was Murali's wife. And I'm sitting next to her as he's taking wickets, and every time they're panning up to her and me having this great old chat, and it got closer and closer to the record, and I'm sitting with her the entire time. And back in Australia, people are having kittens going, "What the hell's Norman next to Murali's wife at this big moment?" And I'm giggling, and she's asked me questions about Australia, not about the game. She couldn't give us stuff about the game. She was talking about other things. It was hilarious.
Oh, brilliant.
And that was my little claim. Oh, that was a good shot from Sharma.
Yeah,
Can you imagine that? Of all moments.
I know. What's Norman doing there? Yeah.
I've got a great photo. I'll post a photo of me sitting next to her in that match. And she's got on her lap Chaminda Vasa's daughter. It was quite a bit of fun.
Yeah, when we opened our new ground in 1989, we had a Kent 11 come down, and this was Alan Elam is the famous cricketing son of our local town. So Alan had organised a Kent team, and obviously Brian Luckhurst was an ex-Kent and England captain as well. Brought some of the Kent players down. Nigel Long, who's obviously one of the senior umpire, he was in the team. Mark Elam at the time, similar age group. But what really worried us when we saw this Kent 11 turn up was Duncan Spencer. Now, for those people that don't know Duncan Spencer look up Duncan Spencer, Viv Richards. Yeah, Duncan Spencer was just wild. Yeah, the Kent players said they didn't like facing him in the nets because number one, he was quick, and number two, they didn't know where the ball was going to go because he didn't know where the ball was going to go. But fortunately, when it came to the Kent team having to field, he was keeping wickets. So, oh, thank God for that. He's not bowling because just didn't fancy someone hurling the ball that didn't know what they're doing with it. But but that's what I like. That's what I like about the game, where you get this opportunity to play with some of these stars. We've got the photograph. It was a great day out, and just magical. Harsh, yes. Alistair Cook still plays for Essex. He was last season. Yep. Whether he's playing next season, I don't know. I know he's got the young family and the farm to look after, but he still enjoys playing the county game.
Where is his farm?
I don't know whereabouts. It'd be in Essex somewhere, which is, for those people not sure, if you look at the London and where you've got the Thames, it's the county just slightly above where the Thames is, east of London. Yeah,
that's called Essex. So Rahul and Rohit are starting to chance their arm. Rohit's
Yeah.
at 4 and 6.
6 and over, yeah.
And they're building. But it's ironic because these were meant to be the openers and they're batting together again. This Shankar Shan thing didn't quite work.
Yeah, I'm surprised at Milne though, because his line was slightly off. But that shows you the nature of the batsman. They're such good batsmen. You've just got to get on them straight away, line and length, and certainly don't drop the catch. Yeah. Well, that was lucky. Yeah.
So I'm gonna find this photo of me with Murali's wife. I've forgotten her name. She was so pleasant and so. She wasn't just disrespectful to her husband for what he was doing, but she seemed to be, wanting to talk about Australia, which was fun.
Yeah, Tim, I agree with you. I'd like to take Cookie to the Ashes. Yeah.
I'll bring Alistair Cook back.
Yeah. He won't come back. Yeah.
No.
But it's just when he was on form.
He's still young enough.
It's young enough, but he's one of those batsmen. Obviously, you talking about Dravid, for example. When he's on form, you just know he's not going to get out. He's just going to be a real pain in the bum. Just you're going to bowl everywhere. He's either going to cut you, hook you, or just leave the ball alone. Just class man.
I'm desperately trying to find the photo of when I interviewed Peter Philpott.
Yeah. If people want a fun story, then look for I think it was Jimmy Anderson does a podcast in the UK called Tailenders with a Radio 1 DJ and a musician, and they did a road show, and Alistair Cook was the guest. And there's a lovely little story where they're told where Cookie had dropped Anderson from a game, and apparently they're two really good friends, best friends. But there was a week where Jimmy Anderson wasn't talking to Cookie because he got dropped from a game. Yeah.
Just going back in the history of photographs I've gotten.
Well, judging by the number you're posting on, well, it's going to be several thousand.
No, I've got a pretty succinct little bunch here.
In terms of the Ashes, Norman, are all the cities open in Australia now? So are we going to have a full Ashes, or is it going to be restricted still?
By late December, they will be. Mm-hmm. So the only difficulty will be the one that involves Brisbane. When that occurs, they may have to put that on later.
But is that going to be seen as an advantage to England? Because the Aussies normally like to play Brisbane first and get the opposing sides on the back foot.
Oh, I'd say it will. I'm just desperately trying to find it. But lots of interviews here.
Oh, looks like there's another wicket gone.
Yep, I've got a picture with.
Thanks, Season.
Look at that. There's I can show that. That's Peter Philpott being interviewed by me. The man who just passed away. I'm going to have to post that.
It. Yep.
What's that?
Rahul's gone. Caught on the deep.
But he had the right attitude, though, didn't he? It's I've got some great. Oh my God, I've got some really good photos. Look at these like candid shots there of me interviewing. Can you see that with a green screen? He handed me this big bookie. There was two. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I agree, Tim. I'm not happy about the game being played at Edgbaston. It should have been played at Old Trafford, where it originally was. And I'm sure as a Lancastrian, you would have preferred that as well. But definitely with Stokes back, England definitely a lot stronger team, which kind of makes a mockery of playing this Test match next year, because you can almost have, if you think Ashford may not be playing, so players that could have played this summer and probably not going to play next summer. So is it really worth it in the end, just as a money exercise?
Oh. It's hard to fathom what's going on with a few things here.
there another wicket? So
Oh my God, this is getting...
you're saying 35 for 3. I'm only seeing 35 for 2. It's 35 for 3. That's a big shock.
I think we're in for a real shock here. It's really...
Thank you, Jason.
What happened?
No, he's saying it's 35 for 2, not 35 for 3.
Yeah, I'm just having a bit of a moment there because I've just found about this poor gentleman, and to have these pictures with him, I've just posted it to my Instagram. Very special to have been able to interview a man of that stature. Yeah. So close in a person's life to it.
Sorry, Tim. I thought on a previous conversation you had a favouring for all things Manchester. So apologies for that. And there's a music concert at Old Trafford. Oh, yeah, fair enough.
So Rahul's dismissal, run that past me again. How did that go about?
Rahul is flicked to mid wicket, caught on the boundary.
Right. It's very sad.
Oh, nearly run out there. Oh. See, this is the nerves thing because they've got off to a slow start. And now Kohli and Rohit will try and put up the rate.
They're going to take a lot of risk, aren't they?
Yeah, New Zealand are a good fielding. I know they dropped the one earlier, but they are a good fielding unit.
It's hard to... I don't know. I'm just wondering what's going to happen with them. Can India win this? Is the question. I'm really worrying.
Aditya, can you explain to me what tuk-tuk cricket is, please? I love the expression because I love tuk-tuks. What's the expression, please? What's it mean?
Backyard cricket, maybe.
No, tuk-tuk cricket.
Yeah, tuk-tuk cricket, yeah. He was born in lots of expectations. Look, this is such a concern for India, and the pressure is probably ginormous, I'm afraid.
Right, Sodi's coming on now. This is going to be interesting. Let's see what movement he gets.
You see, you'd have to expect that. You'd have to expect that New Zealand were the box set to win this. Okay, you have to expect that.
Yeah, Harsh. I know what tuk-tuk is. I've had many a journey in them on my holiday in India. I was just wondering how you apply that to what is meant by tuk-tuk cricket.
Probably street cricket.
Yeah. Actually, we had some fun. We were driving around Connaught Circle in New Delhi, and the tuk-tuk was only on 2 wheels at one point, taking the corner far too sharply. Probably because I was on the inside, so all the weight was on the inside, so therefore the outside wheel came up. There's not a lot of movement at the moment. Okay. Thanks, Aditya. I don't know. When we were going around the Connaught Circle or Connaught Circus in New Delhi, that tuk-tuk was motoring. Okay, no, thanks, Abhishek. Appreciate it.
I love the way you're doing the commentary with people. I love that.
No, it's just I love talking about the game. I love chatting to people about the game. But some of these expressions, we were talking before about scrambled seams, mixed seams, Chinese nicks, I think, Chinese cuts, etc., where people hadn't heard the expressions. And obviously, tuk-tuk cricket. I know what tuk-tuk is. I love tuk-tuks, but never heard it related to cricket. So it's great. Yeah.
Pity you can't come with me to Sri Lanka and
they've gone. Rohit's gone.
They were a mess.
You know what we were saying earlier about the spinners bowling slightly shorter, so the batsman couldn't hit through the line. You could see that Rohit's tried to rock back and hit off the back foot, and just basically knocked it down to long on, taking that catch. Yeah, short, back foot. Yeah, bad shot.
Oh my God. It's really hard to watch this. It's starting to really upset me. Could India go out the back door here?
Yeah. I mean, these are batting mistakes.
Well, they've got so much pressure on them. Let's be honest. They have enormous pressure on them.
Yeah. Harsh, I was in India in 2008. A friend of mine was marrying an Indian lady, and her grandparents lived in Kolkata. So they said, well, the wedding was going to be in Kolkata. So my wife and I said, well, okay, well, we'll go over. And there was a big group of us that went over for the wedding, but we went over the week before. And we spent a week in Goa around there. Fantastic. And then we met up with the wedding party in Delhi and went out to Agra, and then we went out to Kolkata for the wedding itself. And it's interesting because we'd never really harbored any desires to visit India as a holiday destination. But because my friend was getting married to an Indian lady, that we went out there, and I realized now what a huge mistake we made, because we had a brilliant couple of weeks holiday. People were fantastic. Food was awesome. The less said about the driving, the better. But if it hadn't been for the wedding, we would have not experienced what a wonderful, diverse country India is. Lovely people, and certainly again, we'd like to go and visit again. I've got a lot of friends in Bangalore, from obviously through my work in Hyderabad and Chennai. We'd like to go visit them at some time, but certainly it's a wonderful place, and just culturally, in terms of the heritage, the people, the cricket, just amazing. Yeah, so it's a lot of fond memories of India.
So when was your last time there?
Only the one time in 2008, but just the memories. We created so many memories while we were out there, and it's just a wonderful place to visit, and just lots of just fond memories of it. And obviously in my job, I get to work with a lot of Indian people, and we will talk about cricket, we'll talk about memories out there, and that's what keeps them fresh all the time. What I didn't get a chance, I'd like to visit is more the northwestern side, certainly more where Naresh is from, Pune, Jaipur, and up towards the north of Mumbai. I'd like to visit certainly those areas. So reasons to go back and visit.
Between Mumbai and Delhi, you're talking about?
Yeah, so it's just really, we'd like to have gone to, I think, Jaipur, the Pink Palace, and all the Pink City, etc. Just a lot of those areas. The Taj Mahal was very disappointing. Not the Taj Mahal, is when we turned up, it was a really foggy day. So of course everyone wanted that tourist photograph, the equivalent of the Lady Di on the bench with the Taj Mahal in the background. You couldn't see it because of the fog. Eventually the fog lifted, and we got up closer to the just magnificent mausoleum. Just fantastic. Yeah.
But that so-called Golden Triangle, you go Delhi, Jaipur, and Agra. It's a good trip.
Yeah. But
I'll tell you what,
so Kolkata was fantastic. Eden Gardens. I think I told people before we visited Eden Gardens and got a tour around the ground, able to go out to the middle. You're just trying to imagine the sound of 100,000 people in the stadium. Pants and Kohli, they've got to put 100. Yeah.
Rohit Sharma's catch was a good one. I'm not a big fan of Sodhi's beard, though. It's a bit strange, but now that I'm a beard expert, of course. So Harsh Gupta says I've been to India 30 times. I certainly have been there over 20, and obviously Sri Lanka a heap more than that. And I'm going to, well, I'm not going to start until I actually get the ticket, but I'm meant to be going to the World Cup in Dubai. But I might jump around. I might then go to India after it, because I've got to go be in Sri Lanka in December for Shapali's. I'll be broadcasting. I'll be with Shapali with her fitness center opening. That'll be great.
So what was amazing about the wedding was people were asked, would we like to get some Indian outfits? So I thought, yeah, we'll get the outfits. And so we've turned up and we've all got various outfits. The women have got saris on. It's fantastic. And so we've turned up, and then we've seen a lot of the bride's family. Sorry. And they're all suits and normal dresses. So it's almost a complete juxtaposition of who's wearing what. But it was still amazing. And what was funny was we were told that Bengali weddings are normally quite dour, not big party events, but quite solemn, somber events. And they'd laid on some Punjabi dancers and a disco, and the father-in-law had put in a free bar as well. So it was actually quite an entertaining event. And once again, it's just the charm of the country.
What year was that again? What year was that?
That was 2008. Yeah.
Were you due to go back?
We'd love to go back. Yeah.
We should all go. We should get the Vernons to go. We should get you. All the Indian guys that we've got now there that we're in contact with.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
We'll have a big event at some a big banquet dinner at some hotel somewhere. And carry on. It'll be good. So Adam Mills said, "Look, New Zealand have got Lockie Ferguson. Looks like he's injured. They've also got what's his name? Who's the big tall guy? Oh my god,
Kyle Jameson.
Sorry,
Kyle Jameson.
Exactly. They got him in reserve. He played well in the Test match, the World Test Championship. Got a few bowlers, New Zealand.
Well, what I'll do, I'll dig out the group photograph, Norman. I'll send it to you. You can put it up on the community page, because the funny story is this community photographer took out a group of us all in our outfits, and then a little while later, a friend of mine, I haven't sent it. I will send it to you. A colleague actually sent a picture to me. He said, "You were in India, Marcus?" "Yeah, I was." "Yeah." He said, "Well, I'm a keen photographer." I said, "Yeah, okay." He said, "Well, I've seen this photograph in a photography magazine in India." And it's like, well, we looked at it, and it was our group photograph. And of course, they had a name. No, I can send you the original as well. And there was a name on it. So I jokingly sent an email to the photographer's name saying, "Excuse me, if you're publishing my photograph without my permission, surely there should be some sort of image rights." Just little email, just having a joke. But if you can send me the original copy of the photograph, we'll forget everything. So I've got the original as well. So
I found the photo. With Morley,
very nice.
Yes. And that's Shaminda Vasa's daughter on her lap. And the background, you can see Mahala's wife. All there. So.
All right, let me just see if I can quickly find the photograph, then you can get it up, Norman. Because there we go. So that's the that's the original advert.
Copyright. It can't be a copyright violation. It was my photo.
Yeah. Well, copyright. So I've sent you the original photograph that was in the magazine, and then that will come through to your phone so you can show people.
And you're there in the front with a big mouth open.
Of course I am. Yes. And that's the.
That was an advert.
Photograph. That was an advert in this photography magazine. So a colleague of mine found it. He said, "Do you know that you're in this magazine?"
That's hilarious. Well, they're both going to be they're going to be shown on the community page within seconds. Are we doing this because we're getting bored of this match? I hope not.
No, it's we're having a bit of fun. Some questions coming up, but I think the Bakul, I think it's what we were saying earlier, because if you missed the conversation, we were talking about whether it was right for India or good for India to have a big gap between losing to Pakistan and then playing this game, or would they like to have played straight afterwards? Because the way I think about it, because they've had this week to think about it, the pressure's just built on. You've had the media conferences. I guess the guys have had press conferences each day covering it, and the pressure's now got to them. They've started slowly, and now they're trying to hit out, but they're then losing the wickets. Whereas if they played this game 2 days after losing to Pakistan, they might have been a bit more relaxed.
Shakib Al-Hussain is out of the World Cup, injured a hamstring.
Is it? Oh, it's a shame. Yeah.
I've just posted on my thing, can you find Munchie in the photo?
Let me have a see. Look on. Yeah. I'll give people a clue where I am.
So Shakib Al-Hussain, that's a blow, but Bangladesh probably weren't in the hunt anyway, so were they?
Yeah, but it's every time I see that photograph, lots of fond memories come back. It really is a special country, special people, special food.
What's like
driving is just shocking.
Who is? I've written who is the. We've got Nilakshi De Silva, the Sri Lankan. Nilakshi?
Yeah.
I'm on air. I'm live.
Everyone say hello to the other Nilakshi.
Say Munchie, say hello, Munchie. Say hello to Nilakshi as well.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Pleasure to be on Norman's show.
Well, you just Nilakshi, come on video. Hey, yo.
Yes, Harsh, I believe so.
I'm on live. I can't talk now.
Yeah, it's because the expectations,
Watch.
the pressure going on.
There you go. I get phone calls from current Sri Lankan middle order players.
I just had to explain what TFB was to the other Nilakshi. Yeah.
All right.
Right, guys. I think we've had a good run.
Right.
I do need to crack off. The messages are starting to ping through now. So
thank you very much, Munchie. You made the show.
No, it's a pleasure. Everyone makes it. So that's why we like the show. It's a contributory thing. Just to answer Harsh, Bollywood is popular. Obviously, we have very large Indian communities here, but it's not to say that Bollywood is not restricted only to the Indian communities. Not that many I've seen many films, but certainly while I was playing cricket in Philadelphia, I was told about Lagan as being, if I love the cricket, then watch this. And I was like, okay. So I came back to England. I managed to go to our local Blockbusters and got Lagan out, and straight away thought, why there's 2 DVDs here? Why do I need 2 to watch a film? Then you realised how long it was. And of course, I was enjoying the film, and the guys are asking me, how did you find Lagan? I said, well, it's very interesting. I said, couldn't quite understand why you're having a game of cricket and then a song and dance number breaks out, but the Indian guys are having a laugh at my expense about that. I said, that's what Bollywood's all about. So it's but certainly it's very popular here, and you'll certainly see the local cinemas. They will have special showings for the Bollywood films as well.
Oh, it's
yeah,
very special.
But guys, thank you very much. I do wish India well in this. 48 for 3 after 10. Yeah, they've got to get to 150. Oh, hang on, what's happened here? Kohli, gone. Yeah,
it's a bit frustrating, to say the least.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, disappointing.
Well, we haven't seen New Zealand back yet. Things might.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens. But fingers crossed for you guys. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your days and your evenings, and we'll catch you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Onwards and upwards. It's great to have Munchie on the show. His knowledge is amazing. India are 4 for 48. Pandya's coming into bat. If ever there's a day where Pandya has to stand up and deliver, it's today. This is the day of reckoning for Hardik Pandya. If he's going to show why he's in this team, This is his day of reckoning. He needs to stand up and stand up big time. Really, really show us what he's capable of doing, because they're at 4 for 48 with 10 overs left. These two get 100 off 10 ball, 100 off 10 overs. They could change the match. But it really is going to be a matter of whether they can do it. They're overdue. Both of these guys, actually. This is World Cup. This is the final, or the quarter-final, let's call it. Yeah, Munchie and Coley both gone. New Zealand get the runs similar to Pakistan on canter, like in 15. I think what Fretnock guys, Pandya will score a century. Let's see. It's his day. It's the day of reckoning for Pandya and Punt. These two are more than capable of pulling a rabbit out of the hat and scoring big. This is their day. Where is Baram? He was here. He's gone and watched. He's gone and part of a so-called Halloween party, and they're getting changed. So let's clean this. So Baram will be here on his own. So Saudi has taken 2 for 6. Been impressive, Saudi. Santner hasn't been impressive. Milne supported his captain, which I love so much, but still no use. He's IPL captain. Yeah, it's up to Pandya and Punt. It's their show today. That's what they can do. They've got 10 overs to show us. Let's see if they're capable of doing it. In most cases, I would say this is it. I think India will be all out today. Well, it's not looking good at the moment. These two could. Let's just try and give some faith to these two now. Let's give them some sort of impetus. They should be stepping out to this guy and slogging him, if you want my honest opinion. Varun Chakraborty will have to perform well, but Sam Ashwin would have been the perfect person today. But Ashwin would have been the perfect person indeed. Two for 52 off 11 is awful. But a massive partnership from Pandya and Punt, and they've got Jadeja who can hit. And Shardul Thakur can also hit. So there's 4 batters there that can still hit. So let's not give up on India just yet. Santa, they should absolutely tonk him. They should be running down the wicket and getting on the full and belly. Now, Norman, who you will ask that India is favourite or not in public? No, I'm happy to talk openly about this match. Is do or die in Hindi Karuya Mora for India. Look at this stage. These two are incredibly important in terms of what they can do. Let's just hope there's a bit of entrepreneurship in their batting. Is the way I would describe it. Very sad. Really sad. Some horrible things are going on. endless numbers of bad days here. Endless numbers of bad days. It's just relentless with the bad. Coley is crying. Well, he's not going to. This will spell an end for these guys. Well, it's still early. Still early. We've got these two going. Let's go. These guys. They need to start to really. They've got Jadeja and Tucker still to go. They've got plenty of batsmen, really, and they should be taking to these guys now. Bolt's ball 2 overs for 1 for 7. Southey 1 for 11 off 2. Sandner into his 4th, none for 14. Milne none for 7 after 2. Been a bit expensive. Sandner's last delivery here. $15 off 4. It's very tidy. They can't score 140. Well, let's just see how well they bowl, though. Maybe they can restrict this. Let's see. It's been a bit of a disaster, for sure. It's hard to believe. Hard to believe that India or Pakistan certainly shocked them. Well, Lewis Johnson wants Australia to win the World Cup. They won't. Pakistan or England are the obvious favourites at the moment. As I said, if Afghanistan beat New Zealand, which it could easily happen, you might see Afghanistan go through. Pandya, really, okay. I'll give them another over to 2, and if they're not going for it, helter skelter, then something is wrong. This ball just sat up there, and this unusual sort of defensive shot popped up. He kind of tennis batted that. No, currently England's best. Harshcott, I think England and Pakistan definitely. College retired or cut out of embarrassment. Did you right? That's a bit hard, but well. So they've lost Rahul, Rohit, Kohli, and Ishan Kishan. Now Punt and really Pandya. This is their moment. Very conservative. 7 off 11, 7 off 8. Very conservative. They've got to pull the trigger soon. I think Punt just tried to, but got a bottom edge and went nowhere. Why single out Kohli? Yeah, Kohli probably doesn't deserve the bashing. Catch the Shankar got out, and then Rahul got caught. And just not enough strength on it there. And Rohit, I think, got out the next one. Kohli got out. None of the players getting enough of bet on the ball. Wrong selection by not picking Sky. Should have, but they didn't pick Sky because of a so-called leg injury, so that's why he wasn't there. Yeah. 4 for 60 off almost 13 overs. Tucker can certainly hit, so can Jadeja. So we still have got 2 in and 2 to go who can actually do it. You know, should be picking up the balls and hitting the boundaries. There's a question of can India get to 150? I don't think so. They may not need to. Around 140 can be good enough. Jadeja should be next in, followed by Tucker. Bumrah's probably he's wanted Rohit has not performed today. No, he hasn't either. Okay, Rishabh Pant is in with Pandya. These two have to wrench something. It's quite devastating, actually. Showing the players a hell of a lot now. Nobody performed don't target shot. Yeah, so clean sheet for Rohit Carl. All the players just haven't quite done it. Pandya's starting to open up. Not impressive. Okay, Pandya's got a hold of this, and he is just unbelievable that they stopped it from being a 6. That's an amazing, amazing situation. It was amazing to film. Amazing film. Really do or die stuff on the field. Sorties survived so far. Is it wide? No, it's not. Adam Zampa, his video is there, by the way, live. It should be interesting. Please don't play Collier. No, it's nothing to do with anyone blaming. It's just they had a big break and they haven't really got their act together. It's as simple as that. $54, 114, 94. 54, 114 is 68. 262, 67. Oh, that was big smack, but it went to grounded and going. Coley should practice toss instead of batting well. It's true. Blame team for whole player for playing. And that's a bit of an overall bad performance. Yeah, the winning of the toss has been significant. Let's just remember that New Zealand have not batted yet. We'll judge things when they've batted. Judgment things when they're batted. Was it a wide? Four for 67 after 14. That's just not good enough. It's not even 5 and over. At this rate, they only get 100. Don't worry, boys, Coley bowled some today. Okay. Coley should do the right thing and retire. Yeah. I don't want to hear all this. They're looking at an incredibly low. 109? It's a mental game, cricket. Oh. New Zealand have 41 dot balls in their bowling. 41. It's almost 7 overs of dot balls. Yeah, I think it's time McCullough thinks more about his batting. Unless captaincy goes to someone else, I do agree with that. But he's not going to be captain post this World Cup, so that's one redeeming factor about what he's done. So India fixtures, they got to play. They play Pakistan. They lost. New Zealand, no, they could be losing. But they got Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan. Sorry, they got Namibia and Scotland. So they got easier games coming up, and they'll win those three. But they've lost today, so they're now back in the ballpark of they haven't won a game yet. Have not won a game. Whereas New Zealand, beaten by Pakistan, yes, but they win today. Scotland and everything in Afghanistan, they could win all 3 of those. They could win 4 out of their 5, which puts them through, doesn't it? If they get, well, they're saying the score predictor is 129, which will be quite flattering. If if India get 129, that gives them something to chase, or at least to defend. New Zealand haven't got the greatest batting lineup either. If India can bowl well, they might restrict them, but they're not going to restrict them. They score 4 for 70. I'll say that much. Do see the Adam Zampa interview, guys, when we finish watching this. Punt facing Milne, extra patient suit punt. Yeah, suiting right because he got bowled. Punt has just been unceremoniously bowled by Milne. 12 runs. It's a bit frustrating to watch this. You big lift his head up very high. Let's just hope that Jadeja and Del Tucker, or maybe those two can come in here and blast away. They need at least to double the score to make it interesting. But then they're going to have to double the score in 5 overs, 5.5 overs to get 70 runs. It's not impossible. They can do it if they just they got to not get bowled. They're going to go a bit ballistic now. Little families there of players, I'm guessing. given so much attention. Tim, got to have a flexible squad and team need balance. They do. This is ridiculous from India. Ashwin laughing at McElroy. Shouldn't be laughing at McElroy. He'd be very upset. It's just no. Continue to watch. Today's has got a bit of class about him. Oh my God, what was that? India are making it very hard for themselves. They're going for it. Yeah. Kohli can't believe what he's saying. They're going down from top favourites to not even a contender list. New Zealand's a good thing. Yeah. A bit high. Not sure they want to watch this anymore. It's a little bit high. Yeah, it's definitely high. Not that. Pundy's playing some little nifty shots, but I don't know if this is enough. They need big sixes, and they need them now. They're 15 overs old almost. They've got 30 balls, 31 balls to double the score. And they get 60 off 30. That would be good. Silver Rahul, that's true. It has been win the toss, win the game. But you can't excuse the batting we're seeing here. It's pretty ordinary. Ashwin. It's just not looking good, is it? Zampa. Okay, so Zampa Magic needed soon. Twitter. Yeah, let this be a lesson. Match never get colleagues' bad side. It's a bit like that, isn't it? Coley has forgotten how to hit the ball. Yeah, it's a bit like that. Out of match practice. Out of match practice. That's all I can say. They're out of match practice, guys. Out of match practice. Just trying to find some. I'm just posting up there Adam Zammer. So, but doesn't the high percentage of matches won by toss winners comprise the integrity? Yes and no. I mean, look, it should be evenly balanced out. Both teams should be able opportunity to do so. It shouldn't be just a one sided. It doesn't mean that a team's. I don't know. I'd have to say that some teams have been lucky. Some teams have been lucky. Yes, I have to agree. Some teams have been deadly lucky, and that's true. Some teams they might. Okay, at this point we can't blame the curators. That's right. The wickets haven't been the cause of this at all. At all. Saudis bowled well. 2 for 17 off 4. India were 5 for 78, I think it was. Time since last boundary. 67 balls ago at a boundary. 53 minutes ago. That's indicative of the problem. In some cases they're trying to hit the ball too hard. They think it's the ground. They need the aerial route because that proved pretty successful for most games. They need the aerial route. They need not just to hit it to the boundary, but over the boundary. That's the difference so far. India have hit the balls mostly just to the boundary, and they've been caught. They've got to get right under it and really give it some, or time it to the point where they do it. Yeah, Tim Wilton Davis saying Pakistan and New Zealand are the two most underrated teams. It's probably true. Apparently it's a reasonable shot, but it's just gone to the fielder. This is awful.
Hi, Norman. How are you, guy? All right.
Good. It's agonising watching India play at the moment. I'm so disappointed. Aren't you?
I'm sorry I couldn't get on any earlier, but it's Sunday and
That's all right.
Husbandly duties and, things
That's all
to
right.
do. But Munchie was excellent earlier, as always. He
was.
He talks sense from a bloke who's played a lot of cricket. You understand what I mean, Norman?
Yeah, but I mean, I want India to talk sense with their batting. I'm just so devastated with the way they're playing. It's just so much not what I expected. I don't know.
The tournament schedule hasn't helped them, has it? I don't know, help themselves sometimes, but they would have rather have played Scotland or Namibia as their next game just to get a little bit of form and a little bit of match practice coming in. Going straight into New Zealand after a week's break is tough. It really is tough, and it's showing, isn't it? You just got it right, Norman. You said match practice, and that's what it is. You can do as much netting as you like, but it's no substitute for the real thing.
No.
And they just seem a little bit under, don't they? And it's a game of minor things, cricket. It's tiny little things, a bit of luck here, a bit of luck there, but also you create your own luck. And if you're just slightly under, it shows up. Where's Sky, by the way? Is he not playing?
He was injured.
Oh, jeez.
They're quoting injuries to him.
I'm not a fan of the setup of their side, as you know. I think I want to be careful what I say. I don't want to upset. I think there's a little bit of selection based on captain's mates in the side. Sometimes it seems, and we know that Hardik
Pandey
Pandya
is struggling. Pandey is struggling big
Well, he's a
time.
big mate of Kohli's, though, isn't he? Mind you, just hit a nice
Yeah.
ball there. He's a good player, but Ashwin doesn't play again, and I don't get it.
The Asif Ali's in what Miller did, what Butler did. India have got a truckload of those players sitting right in front of them who can do that, but they're not doing it.
Yeah, and they're not picking a couple of the players you think they would, and batting lineups a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily have the same batting lineup as they've picked, and a couple of players a little bit out of touch, aren't they? Rishabh Pant's a little bit out of touch, I think. And that happens in cricket, you know.
But it's all about not even about being out of form. It's the mental pressure. They realise that they've waited all week for this match. They knew they had to win at all costs. It's a quarter final.
You got
it. Mentally,
exactly. A whole week to prepare for a game that you know you've got to win is a long time, isn't it? It is. You're right, Norman. You're exactly right.
But they're bizarrely, they're probably over prepared for the match. And mentally, they've over prepared for the match. But the actual physical preparation has not been there. They look rusty. They've played the game through their head 50 times, haven't they? They've gone to a lot of thought about their team, having selected Shardul Thakur, put Ishan Kishan in, have him open. They just that was not a bad thing to do, to break up the left-hand, right-hand pop. They done something right there, but to negate Bolt and the like. But they've let some very ordinary New Zealand bowlers, in my opinion, look good. Sodhi, I hear and say I don't rate. They should have been distinctively 6 out of the ground, but they've hit shots which haven't gone. They've been caught on boundaries. There's a lack of timing there. But someone should have gone, right, I'm going to hit this guy out of the ground early. Both spinners should have been hit out of the ground. The Rohit Sharmas and the Rahuls, Ishan Kishans, they were the sort of batsmen who went, right, they're out of the ground. Not just a little bit, but well and truly. I heard
a comment just before I came on that you read out from one of the viewers who said, win the toss, win the game. It's true in Dubai that the stats say that's the case, but it's referring to the side batting second, getting it slightly easier because of the dew and the ball skidding on a bit. It doesn't excuse the side batting first not putting a score on the ball because these conditions are fine. It just means that when you bat second, it gets slightly easier to bat. I don't think this is hard. It's not zipping all over the place, is it? You know,
Pandya seems to be determined to hit the ball to ground. You watch his shots; he's belting it into the ground. Now that's all well and good, but that's not going anywhere.
It's not played a lot of cricket. Norman, he was injured in the winter. When England were over in India, then he didn't play at all, did he? Over here, and so I think he played a little bit of IPL at the end. Did he just come back a little bit into the IPL?
Yeah.
It's not a lot of cricket.
I can accept that, but I mean the mindset has to be very clear.
Yeah,
hitting balls out of the ground is an intention. They played shots which went to fieldsmen on the boundary at a rather short boundary, so it doesn't excuse them. I mean, almost all the wickets, including Kohli's, Rohit's, Rahul's, were all caught on the boundary.
Yeah. It was interesting. You're right. What you say about mindset and everything. I know you touched on it earlier, and we're not talking about that game now. But Jason Roy facing Hazelwood's first ball last night. If that doesn't send a message to the bowler, and that's a nice shot, and a mindset thing, he walks down the wicket to Hazelwood's first ball and bashes him straight down the ground, is a massive message. It was obviously pre-planned. It was thought about, and it was
emphatic.
It set the tone, didn't it? It sends a massive message to the bowler.
England said, "We're going to win this in 12 overs, and this is how we're going to do it."
No,
they weren't thinking 20 overs.
Doing that. But while those two are in, and they need to be got out, don't they? Butler and Roy at the start. They're going to
is the ball to mid-on. No power. It barely reached mid-on.
Yeah.
And like Butler and Roy and the like, they just said, right, we're going to take this game by the scruff and win it by the 11th over. Just like Pakistan have done. Pakistan have equally been this. We're going to not only knock it out of the ground, we're knocking it right out of the ground. Even Afghanistan had an attitude with the way they do things.
Yeah, they're nice to watch, aren't they, Afghanistan? They're refreshing to watch. That's not going to be an easy game for India next weekend if it's still a live game, which it probably will be. It's I think, India have got Afghanistan. New Zealand are playing Afghanistan last in the group, which
you know what they should have done? They should have put Shardul Thakur in earlier now, because when he decides to hit, he hits very crisply.
Yeah, but Jadeja's a great player. He's one of the best players in the world. He can hit it too, and he's been a great finisher in the IPL in his time. He's not. They've got 2 overs left here, Norman. They're on 94. I would imagine, what's the best they could possibly hope for would be 125, I guess. They've had, that's 30 more. I'd be surprised if they get 30 more, because I imagine
Miller got over a truckload. Asif Ali got 4 sixes. Look, that's what they need right now. They need someone to do that. They need someone to go nuts.
Yeah, but even at 125, you'd think that the experience of the New Zealand batting would be enough to see them through. And there's a wicket. I know you're a bit behind. Wicket down. Bolt's back on. Pandya's hit it straight down long off's throat. First ball of the over. I know you're a little bit behind. Sorry, I've got it live here. You won't be very happy with the shot he played either. It was similar to the shot that Buttler played in the previous game, not against Australia, the previous one, where he makes a little bit of room, slower ball, and he just sort of helps it down to the field. You'll see it in a second. He tries to place it, I think, but it's a good delivery.
Oh, sorry, it was a bad shot. I'm just saying it.
Yeah, Buttler did it against who do we play second? Whoever it was.
What was the intention of that shot? As I said to you, he should have got under it and put it over the top.
Well, I think it's a slower ball. It's been done because it's a slower ball, so he's there early.
Yeah, but Asif Ali
tried to place
Ali
it.
didn't give us stuff. He said, "I'm putting it over the boundary." Okay, Miller over the boundary. Pakistan. It's just. I'm sorry. These are very. They're not. They haven't got intent about their shots.
Yeah, but you've got to. I've got to defend a little bit here, and I'm not a lot, but Bolt is one of the great bowlers in world cricket. He's no fool, and it's not easy to try and hit someone that good out the park when you just at will. He's a very good cricketer, Bolt, and New Zealand are just a very well drilled side, and this isn't their favourite sort of conditions, is it?
Okay, mark my words now. In this last over or two, if Shardul Thakur can manufacture the strike, we could see 20 or 30 runs.
Yeah, well, I'm saying I need 30 to make it competitive. Surely, then that we only give him.
But you know what? This man we're looking at now is primed to be the one to do it. And 11 balls can be quite a dangerous number in terms of they get 4s and 6s on that. He can ink out 30 runs pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I just wonder. It's hard, Norman. If I was going to predict now, I'd say they're going to get about 110 to 115, which is only another 15 to 20. I just think that
that's what they deserve. But look, Shardul Thakur has got a clear mind.
Yeah. So, I'm not an expert in Indian cricket. Chakravarti's the spinner, who's in instead of Ashwin, but he bats down. He's not a batter then. Whereas Ashwin can bat. I know he's not brilliant, but so where does Chakravarti get in ahead of Ashwin? I don't understand the.
Nor do I.
Because if Ashwin can bat as well, he gives you a little bit more batting, and he's surely the. Well, I think he's a great spinner. I just don't understand it. Every time he doesn't play against England, that's happy days as far as I'm concerned. Did you stay up and watch the game last night, Norman? Because I know you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I did.
I'm afraid your prediction is not going to come to realisation here with Mr. Thakur. I'm afraid to say. Out.
Yeah.
Third ball for naught. Yeah.
You can't blame Tucker, that can you?
And I don't know, Munchie's still watching, but I agree exactly what he said about that team of the competition. If you don't have Owen Morgan in it as captain, because at the moment he is leading the way on his tactics and what he's doing. People who don't understand cricket don't quite understand how good he is on and off the field. He has got the England side as a unit completely together, and they are just looking like a side, aren't they? It was interesting listening to Shane Watson. Was he on your commentary? Was you getting the same commentary as we get?
Yeah.
Listening to him talk about the Aussies not playing together as a team enough and not getting together and just sort of like they're disparate players just coming in for the occasional games, whereas the England side are together a lot. Morgan creates this massive dressing room spirit in the side, and it looks it, doesn't it?
Yep.
I was listening to a podcast that Tymel Mills does with Mark Wood, and they were talking about their practicing, and they practice in an open net against the batters. And he says, if you get it wrong, Bairstow, Butler, and Roy are dispatching you out the ground. He said, and we have to go and get the ball. He said, so every net session, you are 100% on what you have to be on. You have to get it right, otherwise they are smacking you everywhere.
Yep.
And that's good. That's proper practice, isn't it? you know.
Yep.
You know,
it's look. It's clear India thought too much. India have just been thinking too much. They've put so much pressure on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's what's affected them.
Yeah.
And batting second and first.
Well, they haven't lost yet. Let's face it, cricket is a funny game. We've all played in games normal.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's an easy win, and it doesn't turn out that way. But 99 for 7 with 6 balls to go. I mean, 130's out. Not going to happen now.
Look, New Zealand batters. If a person like Conway and Williamson are the two that they're going to rely on, I think. And if those two fail,
well, Guptill, I assume, is playing. I haven't seen the team. I assume Guptill he is. I've just seen him on screen now.
He's playing. Guptill's
now
playing.
He can take a game away very quickly in the power
Absolutely.
play. He's a little bit hit and miss for my liking. Generally, I suppose a little bit like Jason Roy in that.
I was in New Zealand when he scored a double century in a I think it was an ODI World Cup. That was amazing.
Well, he can whack it. So, I mean, the first 6 overs here, he's going to go for it as well. They're not going to think they're chasing a low score. They're not going to go with that mentality. I guarantee it. They'll do exactly what England.
They've got to think of their net run rate too. If they've got a low score to chase, they've got to get it quickly. Yeah,
but they will go in the mentality that we are going to bat as we would normally go, at least for a couple of 3 wickets, just because that's the way we need to be thinking of the game and going for it. So, and Jimmy Neesham I just seen on the screen. He's a good player too. They've got some good players, and I'm a massive Kane Williamson fan, as anyone who watches this regularly would know.
But I don't know. I just don't like the New Zealand batting lineup though. I don't think it's world class.
It's not quite set, is it? They've got a couple of doubts, a little bit of positions. Their bowling's more solid. I think they know they're bowling more. But they've still got enough that I'd be surprised they don't chase 110. I mean, that would be a big surprise. And it's even too early in the evening for the dew to make an effect. It tends to come down after about 10 overs, doesn't it? In these games, that's when they talk about it being easy to bat second because of the dew coming down. And it's usually about 10. It didn't come down at all last night. Isn't it funny? In the Australia game, they said there wasn't any. It just, you never know from night to night.
No time. I mean, Butler just tore us apart.
Yeah. But also, Norman, how well is Wokes? I know, again, we've spoken about Chris Wokes. In his,
but then the man of the match was Chris Jordan.
I know, but Wokes bowled well. I mean, he bowled brilliantly. There's a 6 hit here. Jadeja's just hit one out the park. So 107 for 7, 3 balls left. Saudi bowled a full toss and Jadeja's hit it 76 metres. I do like the metre calculation, so you how far it goes, don't you?
Yeah.
Cool. Butler last night hit 194, the next ball went 95, and then he hit one for 102. Cool, jeez. And Munchie got it right again. That shot he hit off Stark with that Yorker where he hit it for 3 to the extra cover boundary. Crikey, how hard's that to do that as an exponent of a cricket shot? That is very hard to do.
But see, India have hit several balls to deep mid wickets, mid ons, mid offs.
Yeah,
which tells me they weren't timing the ball.
It also tells you, Norman, that these boundaries are a little bit bigger than on a lot of grounds around the world. This stadium in Dubai, Sharjah's not as big, I don't think, but this one has some bigger boundaries. And you know, these players these days are sort of spoilt a little bit by the 60-meter, 65-meter boundaries, aren't they? And all of a sudden, you get on a boundary at 80, and they're holding out a bit more, which is what we want to see, isn't it? I like the bigger boundaries.
Sure.
We were born, Norman and you and me are a little bit older than a few people watching, I would imagine.
Today he looks like he's caught. No, he's got away with it. He put it in no man's land.
He hit it poorly, and it just popped up in the air. Jadeja's doing a good job as he normally does here.
He just needs a better partner in it at the moment. He's got one ball to go.
Oh, he's hit that one straight down the throat of long leg. Who's dropped it? Oh, Norman. It's a goober. Do you call it? What would you call it in Australia when Norman Kochnik is under a dolly catch and he drops it? What would you call that?
A goober.
A goober. You wait to see this. Your favourite in New Zealand player has dropped a goober at fine leg. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, we've all done it.
Sorry, he's not much of a fielder.
No.
I'll tell you what, New Zealand's dropped a few catches that they haven't paid for it though.
Yeah, I mean,
look, 110's not enough.
Oh dear, wait till you see the replay, Norman. Oh, look, Tim Southey's face. Oh dear, oh dear. I tell you what, if you dropped a catch like that off Munchie's bowling, he wouldn't be so quiet as Mr. Southey. He would have given you what for? Old Munchie, little fast bowler, little angry fast bowler. He was. He used to run in Norman off a big long run up.
That was awful. That was an awful catch. Oh, that's really. I mean, New Zealand can't expect to win this tournament. They're going to drop catches like that.
Yeah,
that was awful.
It's 110 at the end is not great.
For 7.
I'd expect. Do you know what? Jadeja is such a good cricketer. Sometimes you think he's holding a team together on his own. Sometimes when you watch him play, don't you? He seems to be carrying a lot on his shoulders, Jadeja.
He's a pretty cool character.
Oh, he's a quality player. Crumbs. What would England or Australia do to have an Ashwin or a Jadeja available to them, Norman?
Well, I mean, I'd say that Ashwin is available almost. It's India score.
Well, if you get Labuschagne, you can get him in from South Africa. You can get Ashwin in from India, Norman. It's I'm sure the government has sorted that little visa out.
Quick smart.
So I don't think that New Zealand will hold the horses back here. I think they'll go for it.
Well, they should. If they need the net runway too. They need a net runway to and they're going to need that. So.
Yeah, I mean, and exactly right. The example from last night's game showed that Australia dropped below South Africa purely on getting thumped for the net run rate. And that could be massively important, couldn't it? Absolutely massive.
Of course.
So New Zealand will be doing. You're right, Norman. As always, you read the game well. New Zealand will want to win this in 12 to 14 overs and boost their net run rate by maybe 1.5 to 2 points by doing it. That I imagine.
And psychologically, they can, because India going to be. If India get hit early, they're going to be. Their shoulders will drop very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then they feel not as well. They bowl not as well. Motivation goes. That's when you start to take control.
And then, if you think about it, then if they do that, New Zealand will know that they could potentially lose another game. But their net run rate, provided India don't win a game by a massive amount, which they could well do, but if they could lose, because all India could do is tie them on the wins. If New Zealand could lose one more,
this is where it's interesting. I do think New Zealand are going to be finishing second now, but I still have this concern of a team like Afghanistan. Could knock off New Zealand.
They could
could see Afghanistan go through.
It could the game. Well, and it also could see India get back in it a lot. India, Afghanistan, and New Zealand could finish up with 2 wins each. Sorry, 3 wins each. Lose 2 games, win 3 games, and so therefore the game New Zealand Afghanistan, which is the last game in the pool. I think it's on the 7th. Is that a week today? I think it's next weekend. Could be. Well, it's proverbial. Could be a proverbial quarter final with India in the mix on the net run rate. It could be. It could be very exciting.
If Afghanistan beat New Zealand, which they're quite capable of doing,
yeah,
that means they've got 3 wins.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
Whereas New Zealand could end up with 3 wins, though, couldn't they? If they win India, Namibia, Scotland, they could end up with 3 wins as well. So,
but the net run rate of Afghanistan at the moment is phenomenal already.
Yeah, but that's why New Zealand. Yeah, that's why New Zealand will go for it today, which is going to mean that India have got to produce a massive win to get theirs up. It's a lot to play for. Look, India will not be out if they don't win today, but I think they'll be the underdog of 3.
India is very. In fact, I dare say Afghanistan will beat them on the table wherever they land at this stage. Whether Afghanistan can go through to 2nd, but I think Afghanistan will definitely be 3rd. But Afghanistan currently, if Afghanistan won the other day, they would have been 1st.
Yeah, they were there, weren't they?
If they beat Pakistan, they were 1st.
Yeah, it just goes to show in 2020 cricket, Norman, that you can be losing for 80-90% of the game, as Pakistan were sort of on the losing end of that, and then Mr. Asif comes. Arif, is it Arif Ali?
Asif Ali.
Yeah, he comes in and changes the whole game. A bit like the last World Cup final, Mr. Brathwaite.
So
West Indies had lost that.
That's what India needed today.
Yeah,
Pandya, Pant, one of those guys, Jadeja or Thakur, should have been the one to stranglehold us and score 20 or 30 in these last over 2, bring it up to 140, and make it interesting. But they didn't do it. No one's done it.
I think 140 is always on these pitches. 140, you're always in the game, aren't you? I'm not saying you're going to win, but the way the World Cup's going, it's not a 180, 200 run fest like it was in New Zealand, West Indies last time round, or like if it was in England. No, Australia next winter. I think they're playing it this time next year, roughly, isn't it? Norman, is it roughly? I mean, I would imagine the scores will be a lot higher, won't they? Down the grounds.
Buri Arjunas just says one of the worst batting efforts in a long time. Let's be honest. An Indian powerhouse squad of players can't get 110 runs, more than 110 runs. There's something really wrong. Yeah. Really wrong. With all the IPL might that they've got, look, India are gone. I'm afraid.
No. Let's wait and see. We're halfway. I've seen a lot of funny things happen in cricket, Norman. I've seen you get a wicket, for God's sake. So,
Well, that's not. But Tim Wilton Davies has summed it up for me.
Yeah. I can't read that. I'm sorry. It's a bit small on my screen. I'm on my mobile.
I can tell it's Halloween because the performance is shocking.
Well, yeah.
It is a bit like a Halloween.
Yeah. I mean, they will not be happy, but they haven't lost yet. Let's just wait and see. Strange things will happen.
First 2 or 3 overs will tell us if they get 20 or 30 runs, game over.
Oh, well, I expect to see Guptill come out all guns blazing. I really do. And I like Conway, by the way, Norman. He's a good player, isn't he? Conway.
He is. He should be opening.
Yeah, I mean, he opened over here in the summer when he came into the New Zealand side and looked a really good player. It's good to see new players come on the scene, and immediately, don't you? When a new guy comes on, you think, "Oh, hello, he's going to be tasty." I think Livingston for England's going to be one of those, and Labuschagne when he came into the side for Australia back here in the Ashes, just looked as though he'd never be. And who was the batsman for Australia, Norman, who came in the Ashes maybe 8 years ago and had a very short career, but opened the batting and looked $1 million from his first ball he faced?
Renshaw?
Was it Rogers? Chris Rogers, was it?
Yeah.
Did he not? He came in sort of unexpected as a guy in his late 30s or mid 30s, didn't he? And it looked as
Oh
though
no,
he
you're
was made.
talking about Voges.
Oh, it might be
No?
Voges. He looked like he was made for Test cricket. You just thought, crikey, where's this guy
Well,
been? He's
Voges went and scored a century in West Indies. I watched that. It was that in Dominica, and that was he scored 175 or something. He had a phenomenal little performance for a while there. He was.
Yeah.
I think it might be Voges. I think you might be thinking of.
And you're thinking, where's he been? He's like, I think he was in his mid to late 30s. Well, he's 36. He had a short career, didn't he? Because of his age. Just goes to show
Adam
that sometimes.
Chris Rogers but Chris Rogers played way earlier and did very badly, and in one test and got dumped immediately, and then came back years later. Whereas Voges waited his turn like Michael Hussey did, and Michael Hussey was still the most remarkable player. He came into the side over the age of 30, ended up scoring, I think 6,000 runs or something crazy.
Lovely player.
In no time. And then all of a sudden retires.
Well, the story with Graham Gooch, I'm sure you know, Norman, is interesting. I know he's an old player for a lot of people watching, but Graham Gooch, in his first test match, bagged a pair. Got dropped, didn't play for 5 years. 5 years in the wilderness after one test, and then came back and became an England legend. Scored 9,000 test runs, and he was batting into his 40s in test cricket. I think he batted to the age of 40. I mean, it's young from the West Indies point of view, but quite old for most sides playing cricket.
Impressive. But Michael Hussey stopped playing cricket pretty early, and he could have played another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
he would have been enormous. He was the most. They obviously gave him the term Mr. Cricket for a good reason. Yeah. He loved cricket so. No one's loved cricket as much as he has. No one. Yeah. No one has.
But he must have known it was time to finish, mustn't he? Because you're right, he could have played on.
I heard his brother played. He played for Australia as well.
David Hussey played county cricket over here for years. Yeah. Alistair Cook.
And he played Test cricket.
I heard him about 2 months ago, and they were talking about why he couldn't have played on. He was only 34, Alistair Cook, I think. 13,000 runs. And he's basically said, I knew it was time. He said, I just knew it was time to finish. And sometimes you just gotta know, haven't you, when it's time. So they're opening with a spinner.
Varun Chakravarti is, in my opinion, severely overrated.
Yeah. Well,
he's done absolutely nothing in front of me at all. So
are we not saying that Ashwin could not bowl instead of him? I'm not.
Ashwin could take a few wickets. Ashwin could take a few wickets early on.
Yeah, yes, but there must be a reason why they're playing this guy in front of him. I haven't seen the Indian press. I'm sure that there will be a good reason.
He's still called a former mystery spinner. If you watch when he bowls now.
Yeah, but these wickets haven't been spinning particularly. They've been taking a little bit, but it's not like they're dust bowls. So, although Rashid's bowled pretty well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And
this guy's very, very, very pedestrian. I've got no time for him. He doesn't impress me at all. Ashwin's got so much class, so many wickets in all formats, wins matches. Why would you not put him in there?
Yeah. Interesting to see what Buttler did to Zampa last night. Did you see?
Yeah.
First over went for 2, next 2 went for 35. The Zampa bowled. Again, that's sending messages, wasn't it? Very interesting.
Now, Guptill's on strike. If we know him, he'll just walk to the wicket and smack him.
Yeah. Although he's picked him off in the first 3 balls, he's picked him off 2.1. Daryl Mitchell is facing up now, and he's run down the wicket first ball to him. But you'll see in a minute. Bowler saw him coming, so he's only just.
I don't know much about Daryl Mitchell. Is he a big hitter? He's 30 years of age. He's not young.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's a big stroke player. I don't know a lot about him. I'll be surprised if he hasn't been over here playing county cricket. A lot of the Kiwis do come over. Guptill's going to milk this spinner here. Just have a look at it for a few balls. He's just taken the next ball down to long on for a single. You see, India can't afford that. They can't afford for 5 and over.
No.
Because they're going to struggle. They've got to get Bumrah on early, haven't they? He's the world-class bowler.
Well, he should be bowling first ball and skittle them.
He's the best bowler in the world.
This guy is doing nothing. He's almost bowling. It almost looks like he's bowling medium pace and no movement at all.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shocking! What a
Well,
shocking!
he's not turned one in the first over, unfortunately. They're going to have to bowl Bumrah here. I know they like to leave him to the end because he's good with the older ball and he gets those brilliant Yorkers in. But unfortunately, you've got your best bowler in the world. You've got to bowl him, and he might have to bowl him 3 or 4. And he's got to try. He's got to try and take 4 wickets. They've got to be 40 for 4 for India to be within their chance. I would suggest, Norman, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if they're done for 30 or 40, it's over.
Yeah, it's game over. Yeah. It was the same last night, wasn't it? You knew it was game over when it was 30 something for 0 of 3 overs. You just knew
Williams
England
is going to come in. Williams is going to come in and get more than a run of ball. He's going to steady the ship, and Conway and the other guys are going to be bashing around. You watch.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say have a good evening, Norman. You're looking a bit tired, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on.
That's okay. You have a good one. Take care. Have a good one.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
fella.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye. All right, guys. I might leave you also to it. We've been on for 3 hours, 20 minutes. It's been good to watch, but it looks like Guptill and Mitchell will just steady the ship. They'll just plot around a bit. What they did in the last 7 days, they're getting even worse now. Yeah, they've been thinking way too much. Way too much. Bumrah's got to come in and get 3 wickets in this over. Bye-bye, Nilakshi. Come on next time. I'll watch this over, guys. You will not watch full game. I will. There's not much to go, is there, really? I'm going to get a drink, guys. I'm just going to get a drink. I'm going to watch this over. Scream out to me if Bumrah gets a wicket. Bumrah got a wicket, guys. It's almost 3 in the morning here. What is going on here? Moores bowled 3 dot balls. Great, guys. Pull me 1 or 2, Norman. Heavy pull, please. I'm going to need one. I'm going to need one. One isn't enough. I know this is terrible. That was just apple juice, guys. It's really quite. No one had enough. I think I'll sell away, guys. All right, guys. We'll see. I'm going to just finish this over. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there's a wicket or 2 falling. No, there's nothing happening. They've only got to get 110, for God's sake. This is less than running over. Bloody hell. It's not looking good, guys. Please don't unsubscribe, please. Please, whatever you do. Well, some of you guys just don't blame me because they're losing. It's not my fault. That was a better Bumrah delivery. Didn't produce a wicket, though. Well, Mitchell got to have been able to survive the over. It was a good over from Bumrah. He only got hit for 1 run. I think I need a lot better than that. All right, guys. We might say farewell. Take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully, there's better games on. India still have a chance, slight chance.